Good day, good day, good day. How's everybody doing today? See if I can get the I know people have questions. Make sure I got everything. Okay. Testing, testing. Okay, we got good audio. Make sure I got everything. Okay. All right. Before I begin, do we have any questions? Any questions? Because I was down for, you know, what, about 2 weeks, and I know everybody was concerned about things. And how do y'all like the website? We got a chat. Let me see the chat. Can y'all see the chat? Man, should be able to see the chat, all the entire audience. Yeah. Y'all try the chat room for me real quick. Make sure the chat room is working. Should be on your dashboard. You should see a label that says chat. Okay, Derek Carter, you had a question?
Hey, good morning, brother. How you doing?
Hey, good morning. What's going on, brother?
Hey, man, I can't call it right at the moment, but it's all good. All right,
All right.
so I'm glad you're back up and running. A site looks wonderful, man. I'm
Yeah.
glad that you made some modifications. I see were real nice. Um,
Yeah.
First couple
Yeah.
of questions that I have, okay, it
Mhm.
has to do with not what you got on the screen now, the bond. It has to do with I know you said something that you're going to try to call into the IRS so we can get this
Oh, your 9-8 number. Okay, I was real busy with this site. I'll try to get that done for you. Like I said, I had some reservations about recording a phone call with the IRS, but it's real simple. It's not difficult at all. But I'll check and see what I can do. I think I may can record it and edit it out a little bit, do some editing to it, let y'all hear me call into the IRS, get a 9-8 number. Have you attempted to call into the IRS and get a number?
well, you can only call through the week, and I
Yeah.
didn't want to call, and I believe I watched a couple of videos on how to call in. This individual called in and said something about the agriculture or something or other, and it kind of lost me. But I wanted to go by, your information since I'm following you and learning from you. Make sure I was following it properly. Now, as far as the 8832 forms, where it says estate, is the estate the SS, their social security number, or the 45 number on that form? Now, this is a
Well,
series of.
it's gonna be the 4 or 5 number, because those are these are entities. It's a classification of an entity. So the
Okay.
entities that you're reclassifying is going to be your 4 or 5 numbers.
Okay. And on the SS4 form 7B, on the estate form, is that the social security number or the corp number?
Hold on, let me pull it up real quick. You said the SS4 form, right?
Absolutely.
All right, hold on, let me pull it up. I didn't put the I thought I put a PDF in there with everything already filled out. It's not in your
Now, what I've seen in the Dropbox, okay, and being Kelly Humphrey, we're kind of like batting off each other, but the information that's in the Dropbox kind of looks different from the instruction manual.
oh, okay, all
Um,
right. Yeah,
you see,
you will see some differences, but you talking about right here your okay, now here's the thing. If you put your here's the thing about putting your SSN. People have various opinions about it. You talking about 7B, right?
right
Okay. If
on
you
a state
my
form.
conti- I am gonna tell you what I have never put my social security number on any uh um uh application for a for 98 number because it's foreign. You're calling the IRS. Now, my mentor told me it didn't matter if you are the settler of it because the trustee is foreign and I understood what was saying. The citizen of it is foreign. It's the administration that's really going to come down to how important it is. You got to understand one of the things about trust law is this: substance trumps form. Okay. It always try. I want you to remember that because a lot of y'all put a lot of emphasis on how you set up your trust. And it is important if you have a problem down the road with the IRS and you get held into court for some sort of tax deficiency or something like that. And a tax deficiency will usually come about because of some sort of administration error. Okay, that's what it's
Okay,
going to always be. You some kind of error in your administration. It's not going to be because of the formation of it. Um, but the thing is that I never give it when they ask me, if they ask me, because when you call in, all they're going to say is, what did you put for 4A? What did you put for 5B? What did you put for 7A? What did you put for 9A? What you put? And they're going to ask you about probably a total of 6 or 7 questions. It's not a lot of questions that they're going to ask you, and they jump around a lot too. But if they ask 7B, I said there is no social security number. It's foreign, and they say okay, they move on.
okay,
Because you calling in to the IRS, that's what they are there. They're foreign. They're
right,
foreign. You know what I'm saying? So you know that the people who call there are people who don't have social security from other countries and stuff like that.
okay,
Trying to do business in the United States. So they're used to my point is, I guess I'm saying is they're used to people calling in without that. But my mentor told me if you give them the social security number, it really doesn't matter either, because it's a contract. It's a contract trust. The 98 number is for tracking purposes. And it's not going to really have any bearing on whether or not you're taxed or not, because the trust is going to get taxed if it engages in some sort of taxable event, whether it's private or not. That's what people need to understand. It's not the formation of the trust that's important. It is the activity that the trust engages in that is important. That's what
okay,
the IRS looks like. If you got something that you've effectively connected with a trade or business within the United States, they're not looking at no 98 number. They're looking at the transaction.
right,
They gonna say, okay, well, hey, look, I know you got a 98 number, but you just did some business with the United States and got some income and some taxable income, and that's going to be and usually there's going to be some sort of withholding before it goes to the trust, but if it's not, then the trust is going to get taxed or it's going to get taxed as well because that
right,
tax doesn't go away. People think that's one of the big things that I have to stress in my tax classes, because it's so much of that has gone around where people say, "Oh, I got a 98 number. I'm tax exempt now." No, you're not. You're not tax exempt just because you got a 98 number. But I
exactly.
understand I understand the concern about giving the SSN. But I'm just giving you my thing. I've never given it, but
Hmm.
I always have a CITIS that is out of the country, and then I have offices here in the United States. I say I have a satellite office in the United States, but our home office is in XYZ country,
Right.
and we will be doing business there. And no, there is no social security number. associated with it. Now, if it's owned by another trust, you can give that trust 98 number. If you have another trust and you're going to have that trust on this trust, that wouldn't hurt
Hmm.
doing. If you already have a 98 number, it wouldn't hurt to do that either. So you can give them that number. They're just looking for a number, and if it's not, they don't question it at this office because that's what it is. It's for foreign entities.
Right. Okay. So on the SS4 form, on the estate and corp, are those two separate EINs?
Okay, I'm looking at the SS4 form now. What are you talking about? What line?
Let's see here. I think it's on your template that's in the Dropbox.
I mean, what line? What line are you referring to?
Let me see here. I'm trying to read off my notes. I don't remember exactly which one.
Oh, you
Let's
don't
skip that. Let me go. Let me skip that. All right. In the IRS, when you go to their website and it says type of trust, which do we select? Trust filing, or do we select trust filing as an estate, or are we checking the box? And are we putting the SP, so secure party address, or the straw man
what are
on
you?
number
I don't
three?
know. I don't understand. What are you talking about? You talking about when you get your 405 number when you go to the
When you're
IRS
going
website?
when you're going to call in for your 98 number and you call the IRS and you go to their site, okay?
Well,
Once you go
I
to the
call in. I don't go to the site to get my 98 number. I call in. All right. I go over the phone. I fill this out right here before I call in, and then I call in over the phone. They're gonna give you your number right over the phone.
okay,
I don't call in. I just fill it out, and the address I'm going to put is going to be a foreign address. All
okay,
right,
I got
it's
you.
going to be a foreign address, and they usually don't ask for the address. They always just want where is it located. They don't. I'm telling you, they're really, really informal with the issuance of a 98 number because of that reason. I know why they are because they like, okay, you foreign, but they're going to tax. They know they're going to tax you regardless if you do some type of business with the United States. So they're not. A lot of people think it's real stressful to call in. I've never had a problem with calling in. I made one mistake one time, and I told them I was domestic. I tried to say that the U.S. I was foreign to the United States or something. The lady didn't want to hear none of that. She directed me, said, "Oh, you need to call XYZ campus, sir. Thank you. Have a nice day." They got no tolerance for any of that. You trying to say that the United States is a corporation, is foreign to a state? Ain't trying to hear none of that because they employees. They don't know. So they don't know. So all they want to know is what country is it? Is there SSN? What are they gonna ask? They're gonna ask you the name, okay? If it's executor, trustee, who are you? You the trustee, or you the administrator? You the settler? Who are you? Um, they probably gonna ask you 7A. They may ask 7B. Let's see. They're gonna go down and say they might ask. Let me see if they ask anything in 9A. Um, they might ask They might
I know.
ask something in 10. I know they're going to ask you 12. They're going to ask you a closing month of your accounting year, which you can
Mhm.
select. They're going to ask you number 11, date your business started. Uh, if you expect your employee tax. They
Now in
don't
the
have,
manual, I'm sorry. Now in the manual, it says from 11 to was it 17? No, uh, 11 to 16 or 17. It says put NA.
listen, I put my closing business. I'm gonna tell you what I do.
Right,
Okay.
right.
I'm gonna tell you what I do. What I do is I have the date the business started.
Uh huh.
Closing month. You can put whatever you want, though. Really, all right.
Okay.
You can choose whatever you want to do on those.
Okay.
I go ahead and put my business date it started, closing accounting year. I'm telling you from trust. The person who wrote that manual don't have that much knowledge about trust because I'm
Ah.
telling you how it operates. How it operates is that these people go take substance over form. And you're
Okay.
going to see that when you call in. They're not real tough with, giving you the number because they understand. It's like, okay, we'll give you the number because, it's not, you foreign, yeah, but if you come in the United States, do business, they're going to treat you if you domestic or whatever. If you do some sort of minimum contact with them, That's
Right.
how it goes. And that's where the administration comes in. You have to know how to form contracts and get other people to do things for you and things like that. That's why the administration side of it is so important. The 9A number is very easy to get, y'all. Y'all don't need to, you know, uh, stress over this. But you can put NA for 11 through 17, but I'm telling you what they're gonna ask you.
Right.
Okay. And when you
Okay.
call in, I'm telling you that I done did this about 5, 6 times. I personally for myself. And when you call in, I'm telling you what they're gonna do. And they don't never ask you the same questions all the time. They jump
Okay.
around. So it's best to just fill out the entire form. Okay. And so you're ready for whatever it is that they ask you and
Okay.
understand what you're doing. But the thing is that I'm gonna just tell you this: the only thing that is important that I would say that's important is that you don't give them a social security number. That's just my opinion because they can go back and look at that. That the settler is a U.S. person.
Right.
Yeah, then that could be an issue as far as any tax purposes for it. From the information that I have and so forth. But I haven't been in the court on a tax case with a trust, so I can't really say. But just from what the attorney that wrote the manual that I teach from and everything, he talks about. He has a whole section in there devoted to if you are held into court or what the IRS does in investigations on a trust. I got a whole section to go devoted to that, and that's why I'm talking to you like this. I'm coming from that.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it was just I ran across that information, and then being down for 2 weeks, you're kind of scrambling for information at the time, So,
Yeah, I know I was
so
down. I apologize for that, but I migrated the site over to
hey, you're
another
good.
hosting company, and because it's fast, I don't know if you can tell it's faster, and it was a hosting company that accommodated this social media platform that I've added to the site. I wanted y'all to have y'all own profiles, and I'll be able to chat and
Oh
message
yeah.
each other, and do all that kind of stuff because I think interaction amongst the students is important because y'all going to be needing uh, people to maybe sign your bond and find out if somebody's in the same state with you and things of that nature. So and it's faster too. It's a much faster site. This website operates faster and everything. There's no lag time.
Awesome. 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 Okay. Two quick things. Quick things. All right. So just to get this straight again. So on the 8832, on 7B, on the state form and the court form, that's going to be separate EINs.
Let me pull it up. I don't have the whole form committed to memory. All right, let's see. You talking about on what?
Okay,
What
on
line?
that is down where it's let's see here.
I got it on the screen. You can't see it on the screen?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember exactly where I'm at in my notes here. Employer
Right.
identification number down in B, 5B, I believe.
If the eligible entity is owned by one or more affiliate corporations that filed a consolidated return, provide the name and employee identification number of the parent corporation. Did you file a consolidated return? If you didn't
Uh,
file a consolidated return, then that's not applicable to you. It's NA.
okay, okay. And gentleman wanted me to ask you, where did you get the national passport? Excuse me, the national passport person attained the SPC filing that you showed on a video or something like that. Where did you get that, and where
I,
to find it on your
I haven't.
Facebook page?
Yeah, it's on the Facebook page. You can get it.
When you go to your Facebook page and you try to
It's
click on
not
that
it's not in my Facebook page. It's in my Facebook groups page. Okay, it's
groups
not on
page,
my personal page. You go to my group
uh-huh.
and high frequency radio network right here, and you have the files right here. And I just put this up. How did you get this? But you say, oh, I got passport. Where did I put all that passport stuff? Let's see. There's one called Silver Bullet. It's two of them I put on here. Let me see. U.S. passport 50. Any shot, Wody lawyers.
Getting a state national passport, is that it up
Getting
there?
a state national passport is one. Silver bullet to your rights.
Oh, there it is. Yeah.
That one right there. That's the
Mhm.
original. That's a very good one. But I think the one that is more concise is getting a state national passport. This one right here. All right. This comes from I think this is Fam Guardian. It was on Fam Guardian website. Those guys. One thing I like about those guys, that's all they deal with is tax. They deal with a lot of tax issues and things like that, and they're real concise. And this is table of authorities. What is a state national? It gives you the whole, it gives you the whole rundown on and
Okay.
all the codes that are associated with it too. I might do a class on this. I don't know. It's kind of long, but you can see they got affidavits of citizenship, domicile, tax return, about SSNs, TINs, government forms, correspondence. You're gonna have to probably go back and forth. I'm gonna get some more information and put on this right here because I'm looking for because I went through it once with the attorney. I haven't got an opportunity to go back because
Hmm.
when they done changed some rules now and changed the wording on it and then saying if you've ever been issued a social security number, what it is that you have not been issued. You're gonna have to get into some real back and forth with the attorney because they're gonna pass it to their legal department and he's gonna write you back. They're not gonna deny you. They're gonna ask for some additional information or try to it's going to be kind of tricky because they're going to try to like ask you questions that you're going to know it like, man, why are you asking me that question? I just told you I have a social security number. Now you asking me for information that's connected to a social security number, like a driver's license or something like that. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? So it's like they're gonna get real tricky with it, and you just gonna have to. I'm putting together a letter right now because the thing about them is you got to let them know that the United States. You have to understand what federal jurisdiction is. And I understand what federal jurisdiction is with the U.S., the 14th Amendment, and all that. And you're going to have to educate them a little bit on things that they probably already know and they want to see if you know. But, that's that. I can't truly talk too deep on it because I just don't have enough personal experience, but I do have all the information, as
I
you can
got
see right here.
you. I got you. All right. So I thank you for that, showing me that. I thank you for everything you've done. Last question is basically, I mean, the information that differs from the Dropbox and the manual. So we should just be going by basically almost what a template that was set in the Dropbox opposed to the manual.
Yeah, well, you can use the manual too. The manual's okay as far as with the SS4. I mean, don't stress too much over the SS4. When you call in, do your first one. Call in. They ain't gonna arrest you or nothing. You know what I'm saying? Call in. You know what I'm saying? Just call in, talk to the people. They're gonna either say yes or no. That's all it's gonna be. They're not
Okay.
gonna. I mean, you're not calling in doing something surreptitious or anything. It's like it's real simple. If you give them a wrong answer, all they looking for is it domestic or foreign. If you give them a wrong answer, they're gonna say, "Well, sir, this is domestic. You're gonna have to call our other number."
Right.
Something like that. That's all that's gonna happen. So
Okay.
all it's gonna happen, you know what I'm saying? It's gonna be domestic or foreign. If they asking you these questions to see if it's foreign,
Oh yeah.
you
Oh yeah.
know. So that's all it's gonna happen. They're gonna say, sir, this is domestic. You're gonna need to call our other campus. I'm gonna give you the number. Let me give you the number now. Here's the number.
Right.
Call over there. It's all that's gonna happen. It only happened to me one time. I haven't. I'm gonna tell you the truth. I haven't gotten another number probably about the last. No, I just got a number. 3 months ago? I just got another number 3 months ago. I think me and my friend we formed a trust to put all our real estate in. So
Right.
so I went and got one for that.
Okay.
And I
Okay.
put the domicile in. My attorney. He's a foreigner. My my. I'm sorry, not my attorney. My CPA. And so he had an address, and I actually put a foreign address. I gave him a foreign address for the CITIS because the CITIS is there. So if the CITIS is in a foreign country, that's just what it is. It's like it's in a foreign country.
Right.
If you're the settler and you're a U.S. citizen, however, they could consider it to be domestic, and they could. So I've never given them a social security number. I don't give them social security numbers. Matter of fact, one time they asked me. I said, well, can you give me a social security number? I said, nah, it's like, I told him, I said, what I tell him? I said, I said, it's foreign. I said, nah, there is no social security number. He said, well, we just have to ask you that, sir. And he just kept moving on, you
Yeah.
know, just told me it was what I think it was like my first or second one I got. Guy asked me that question. And it's like, they just real informal with it. Don't stress over that.
All right. All right. I
That's
appreciate you,
why I'm not really, like I don't really read it too much because I've done it so many times that I called in because I'm telling you from experience. I'm talking to you from experience, not from a sheet or anything like that. What they ask. Once you do it a number of times, you'll start to see the pattern of what they ask for. And it's only really about four questions I think that are consistent. And that's who the settler is, the where it's located, they want to know when you're gonna. And the reason that they want to know this question right here because they want to know, you know, when they expect your closing accounting month. That right there. They always ask me that question. Number 12. I always get asked that question.
hmm
Closing accounting month, and you can set your own closing accounting month. I mean, you gotta understand this is for business purposes, so that's not no big deal. And you know what I'm saying? And that's what it because you're getting a 9-8 number from them. You're getting a 9-8 number because you have intent on doing business. So, the only thing is whether it's going to be taxable or not. And that's going to all come down to administration and, transactions that you engage in.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, hey, brother, I thank you much for your time, and I just want to say, shouts out to all the people that's in North Georgia. If y'all want to collaborate, the group is up. And nice talk to you, brother. Thank you.
All right, yeah. Let me talk about the website real quick. And you're welcome. You're welcome. Let me talk about the website real quick. Where is the? All right, hold on. All right, let me close up your mic. I want to talk about the website real quick. All right, I hope y'all can see that. Okay. All right, you see the website, and I'm going to be adding some stuff on the front page. But when you first log in, all right, you come to the site. It's like this. All right, and dang, which one? Oops, hold on. What did I just do? Hold on. Oh yeah, right here. And you'll notice when you first log in, you won't start to see your sidebar over here. You have a sidebar over here that will give you access to your profile. You can also do it up here in the top, in the corner, and click over here, and you got access to a wall and so forth, where you can post things and things like that. You have your profile. On your profile, it's just like Facebook. You can edit your profile if you want. You can upload your pictures right here. You can change your profile picture, and you can also change this background right here. This is just a default background, but you can change it to whatever you want to change it to. Change your background, that's your cover image, just like on Facebook. Exact same thing. All right, you can create a group if you want for your own. Each of the groups, I have added a forum to. I think you add a forum where the people can start make posts and so forth. All right, related, created. Then your profile. Now your profile also you have your course progress right here. All right, you can go to your course progress and you keep track of all your classes that you're enrolled in. You can also access it, your class material from your profile as well. Okay, and then we have the main dashboard. The main dashboard is where you have your tabs that you can access the different courses. Of course, there's a member tab right here. Click on the tabs. Whatever course you are registered in, you can click right here. If you're a secure party, you click secure party. Then you have your tabs. You have your webinar, course units, Dropbox, glossary, recordings. I'll be adding some other tabs to it as well. Give you access to all your material. You can just click on the button. Here's all your recordings of all the classes and so forth. All right, you can always get back to your SBC main dashboard, your Dropbox, obviously. Access to all your Dropbox materials is available through the website as well. Uh, and then you have your, I'm gonna this glossary thing. I'm adding a real nice feature to this where all you're gonna be able to do is hover over the words, and it'll give you the definition of the words, kind of like what you see on Wikipedia and some of the other websites. I got that feature. I just hadn't had time to add it in today. You got your frequently asked questions. I'll start adding more questions depending on how many questions you give, because the whole thing of being a website administrator is reduce as many questions as you can, because so many people, email me about things and so forth. So, look here first for an answer to your question before you contact me about something. I'm going to try to uh, put everything in there. All your members are here as well. I would prefer. I'm going to get to the point. I'm trying to shoot for the point. The only place you're going to find me is on here. I'm even trying to get off Facebook, where have my own social media site, because I only use my social media sites anyway for secure party stuff. You want to talk to me on my website. I'm gonna have a free area where people can just register and they want to come and talk to me and come and talk. It don't make no sense for me to be on Facebook and I got my own social media site. People want to talk to me, come over here and talk to me. You don't need to talk to me on Facebook. But we got you can make a request. You can make friend requests to different individuals. Like this person, I'm accepting this, Adolphin Campbell. He was just active 21 minutes ago. You go to your notifications, just like on Facebook. And they got different ways to put notifications too. I got some different things I'm going to look at, maybe some stuff I'm going to add. But it's real nice. It's really lets you engage with the other students within the course, your specific course, and you can create you can make your groups public or private for restricted only certain members and things of that nature. And then you have the wall is like the main wall, just like on Facebook. You have like a main activity wall where you see everybody post something, and post there. This is what you're gonna do right here. You can post something right here. And I prefer y'all ask me questions and things on here, instead of like on each of the course units and things. People ask me questions on course units, and it's like I'm working. I have more access to it right here. And what happened to the chat? Oh man, it's gonna be a little chat thing. I think my chat feature got just taken off. I'm gonna have to it's gonna be a little tab here that says chat as well. And what it'll do is it'll let you chat with each other as well, just like on Facebook. I'm trying to get it. How Facebook had a little chat that pops up in the bottom right hand corner. You're gonna have something like that also as well on here, where you can chat, ask me a question. I work late at night. If you want to just ask me a question, that would probably be the best way to contact me, is just go to the chat and just type the question on chat instead of emailing me a question and everything. I can answer either right there on the spot, because I just get so many emails, I can't go through all of them, and that it's just getting my email is just getting out of hand. So I prefer, if you're a student, I want to put my students, make them primary. You have a question, come to the website and ask me a question, and just go to the chat or go to my wall or send me a notification or something like that, and I can answer it a lot easier. Okay, and that's about it with it. There are going to be more features that are going to be added to it, and there are going to be a lot more classes that are going to be added as well. I got all of the groundwork out of the way. Now I can concentrate more on my classwork and things of that nature. It was a lot of work putting this stuff together. I wanted to be clean and very easy to navigate, and hopefully I've accomplished that for all of you. As I said, got access. You're going to see a lot of cool features being added to it. Um, your courses, what do I do with the courses? I think right here, you got your course units right here. You can just go to your course units. And of course, it keeps your progress for each of your units and everything, each of your courses that you're enrolled in as well. It's keep track of each one of those for you. So, and then of course, from your profile page, you got access to all of your different courses if you're enrolled in different courses and so forth. But that's it. I mean, that's it. It should be pretty self-explanatory, especially if you are familiar with, Facebook in any kind of capacity. I think it's pretty simple. Let me see. Amy Jordan, you had a question?
What?
I said, did you have a question, Amy Jordan? I saw you had your hand up.
No, my hand is not up, but of course I always have questions.
All right.
So
All
could you
right,
go
go
over
ahead.
the 8832 just quickly? I don't want to belabor this, but I want to make sure I understand what it's used for. I think
It's
I
a
get it, but I'm not sure.
It's a reclassification of your entity to put your, to put your corporations in a trust. You're reclassifying them and putting everything into a trust. Okay, that's all it is. All right, and let me pull it up for you. Hold on. Let me pull up the 8832. Let me. You got a lot of. I'm gonna pull it up in this one right here.
And Yusef, can you talk too about collapsing the trust? There's a lot of discussions going on about how to go about collapsing the trust by doing a name change.
Let me tell you something about that. That was like the biggest discussion when I very first got into this. That was like a hot topic, collapsing the trust. And there was a gentleman named Patrick Devine.
Yep.
And there was before I even learned anything about collapse. Matter of fact, Patrick Devine that's the example of the SS4 that I put in there for all of you. I need to do my own so y'all can because all those documents are like documents I collected over the years and everything. But the very first person that I ever got some information from on how to fill out an SS4 form for a private trust was Patrick Devine. And I understand it back then, what it was, exactly everything of what it was. But everybody was trying to collapse the trust. And what they were doing is they were forming another trust, a foreign grantor trust, and then collapsing the Sesque K trust, as they like to call, and collapsing that and moving all the assets over into that trust. Now that I have knowledge about how trust works, okay, I'm looking at that. I'm like, okay, how are you collapsing a trust that you didn't create? It just ain't making sense to me. I just ain't made sense of that yet. A lot of people talking about this trust. You ain't the owner of a trust. A beneficiary don't have no control over a trust. When does a beneficiary have control over a trust? Okay, I'm not understanding it. It's like, now they're saying, well, you're a trustee, you're a co-trustee and co-beneficiary of it. Okay, even with that, okay, you have to merge to collapse a trust. You have to do what's called merge equitable and legal title. All right, that's how you collapse a trust. It's called the merger doctrine. All right. So if those titles merge together, now there's only one instance though of a trust where that doesn't work, and that is in a business trust. A business trust, the equitable and legal title are both vested in the trustee. That's one of the distinct differences between a business trust and regular trust. All right, but a lot of people they say about collapsing the trust, and I never could understand why somebody would think that they could collapse a trust. I was like, how are you gonna collapse the trust when you didn't create it? They are the administrators over it, and that didn't make any sense to me. What did make sense to me, however, was uh taking the birth certificate, taking your see, a beneficiary is issued a trust certificate. Okay, your trust certificate is evidence that you have a pro rata interest in the particular trust. Okay, that has value. That has value because if you have a trust certificate, and let's say your trust certificate every month you get $5,000. The trustees have to every month send you, like you got trust babies out there, they're getting $5,000 a month. They have a trust certificate, and that trust certificate is worth $5,000 a month. Okay. So, it has a value associated with it. You can do things with it. You can transfer it. You can, put it in another trust, like a spendthrift trust or something like that. Like you feel like, hey, I'm not real good with money. Let me take my trust certificate and put it in a trust and appoint some trustees over it, all right, or something like that. That made sense to me. Okay, but the other stuff about collapsing the trust that you didn't really have control over, and I'm coming from a person that studies trust. A lot of people are saying that aren't trust experts. They're just making statements. We're going to collapse the trust and take the money out of the trust and things like that. Well, you do have a right to a distribution from the trust. You do. And if the trust does collapse, yes, you do. All the assets, that is a principle of trust law, that if the trust collapse, all of the what's called the trust corpus does go to the beneficiaries, the trust corpus. So I see why they are saying it. They want to collapse the trust because the corpus goes to the beneficiaries, which you being the beneficiary, you would get that. And then, that would be all your money. People say there's $750 million in the account. One being the older you are, more money is in the account, and that can be transferred. I'm not saying it can't be done. I just hadn't seen anything that made sense to me of how to do that, what they're talking about, because the what controls a trust is the indenture agreement, and the settler who set up the trust will usually put in the indenture agreement the terms of the trust, whether it lasts 20 years, 5 years, or whatever. Okay, there's a term limit on it, and there's also an option for the trustees to usually, renew the trust when it's time to expire. They can renew it, because a trust has to have a termination date, except in the case of like a what is it, a charitable trust or something like that. But usually they have, there's going to be a termination date associated with it. Now, the Social Security trust is supposed to be a public charitable trust. All right. Nobody really knows because nobody has access to any of the information really behind the scenes and everything. So a lot of it is just speculation, which is what I see a problem with. I'm going to tell you how I teach and everything, just my experience over the 13 years of doing this, just to keep you on the right track. I try to get away from as much speculation as possible, or what's called urban myths or things of that nature that I can't prove. Okay. If I can't prove it, but it makes sense, I'll give credence to it. But I try to stay with the things that I can deal with first, because there's so much, because you got so many naysayers. Like, I get people on my YouTube page right now, this is bullshit. I investigated this, and then I ask them a question. Okay, what did you investigate? Somebody asked me the other day, well, the Tony King stuff don't say nothing about filing a UCC1. I said, yes, he does. You haven't even listened to his audios. And you didn't watch this video. The people out there just make statements. And you got to be cautious of those people, because I can look at a person's question. I'm like, man, you ain't watched not one of my video. You just saw the title of the video and making a comment. And you ain't listening to nothing Tony King say. That's too much information to go through. I haven't even went up through all of it. So you try to sit here and tell me you went through all those audio tapes, all those documents. You understand how to become a participant in the DTC. You know how to form a trust. You know how to make a pass-through account. You got your TDA account, and you went and done all this and tried it to find out whether it worked or not. Shut the fuck up. You haven't done any of that. You know what I'm saying? These people just make statements. They'll make statements on stuff, and it's like, they'll just make a statement. It's like, you don't have any type of empirical evidence of anything that you're saying. So over the years of dealing with that, and the number one thing is I've been in the courts. So I know it's real. You can't tell me what's real and what's not real, because I know it's real. They lying to you. They are hiding something. Of course, they're going to say you're crazy and do all these things. That's why I just posted the video on Chisholm versus Georgia, because PAC, they said, oh, we ain't never been sovereign. They say sovereignty only exists through the state as a group. Okay, that's where your sovereignty rests, with the state. And that is bullshit. Sovereignty is with the people, because you got what's called first principles. They don't expect y'all to know this. The first principle is you are born free and independent. And the only way that anybody can get any authority over through you is through your consent, whether it be expressed or complied. So their arguments all fall flat on their face if you know what you're talking about. I don't give a damn if it's an FBI agent or whatever. Your argument falls flat. And the 11th Amendment didn't change anything. It didn't change a damn thing. Okay, what you're seeing, I'm going to tell y'all what you're seeing. You're seeing these U.S. Supreme Court justices, okay, that are in collusion to bring in a new world order, to give federal power over all the citizens. They got to bring it. They have to have power over you to bring in a new world order. They have to have power over you. And they've done that. And y'all need to go back and listen to that tape with the posse. People talk about the posse comitatus. I went back and looked at them. Everything they said is correct. That's that posse comitatus stuff. I'm like, oh, did you go listen to old boy what he was talking about? Okay, that was on the Phil Donahue show. That's how long people have been knowing about this. And people aren't just been crazy over past 30, 40 years. You have some of the top minds in the country who have been researching this information. And for somebody to come along and try to discredit that when you haven't read anything, your intelligence level is probably questionable too, because everybody's been dumbed down nowadays. So I got to question your intelligence level. Okay, I know you haven't researched anything or anything like that. So those are things that, and I don't want to digress too much, but those are things that I have to contend with. So when you talk about collapsing a trust, the reason I don't, that when I got into this 13 years ago, that was the rage. Everybody, we got to collapse the trust because everybody's trying to get the money in those accounts. Okay, that's what everybody wants. They want to access an account and get that money. Okay, first of all that money is for business purposes. Everything that the government set up is for commercial purposes. It's for commercial purposes. It's not for your self-aggrandizement. And that's what I see out here is people greed, thinking that they have some sort of inherent right to something. You don't have any inherent right to anything in that trust. And I'm going to explain why. Let me explain why. When you set up a trust, okay, I can set up a trust for my children. I can put up the Gabrielle and Joseph and McKaylin trust. Okay. I can put that trust together and call the trust that name, call it by their names. All right. They are beneficiaries. Okay. I can put $5 million into that trust for them. Okay. Now, that $5 million, if they come along and find out later, their father set up a trust for them and they say, I can't stand my damn father. I don't want nothing from him. I hate him. The way he treated my mother terribly, and I just don't want anything to do with my father. Not no money. I don't care if it is $5 million in there. I don't want it. I mean, what's the possibility of that happening? But let's
Not
just
with
say,
my kids.
not with mine either. But I'm just saying. All right. So okay. So we got all this set up. So now, okay, they say they don't want it, but the money doesn't disappear. All it is they can accept the benefits or they can deny the benefits. But the trustees have instructions. And the number one duty of trustees is to enrich the trust. To enrich the trust. Okay. That is what they're supposed to do. If there's $5 million in an account, you can best believe in that indenture agreement is probably going to be something about them making investments in real estate and stocks, or like in a business trust indenture, they have a wide range to invest in almost anything. But you have what's called the Prudent Investor Act. All right. And what that is, let me show you that real quick. Y'all need to know this stuff. you know
Well, I think the point of discussion really is what I call the all arms and legs, where they filed the UCC for $14 trillion of our
I
labor
saw that as collateral against the
as
people and everything.
collateral. And so
Right.
I think the idea behind this is pull out the collateral of the trust, at least partially, and that collapses the trust.
Well, then wouldn't you be doing that when you filed in the UCC1? You're putting a claim on it. You're putting a claim on all of your property. You know, this is how I look how the UCC works as a beneficiary, because that's what you want to be, because the beneficiary has no liability. Everything you're going to see is that you're a beneficiary to the Constitution. You're going to hear this word beneficiary just keep coming up. Even this word Sestwe K trust. Sestwe K trust just means beneficiary. That's what it means, beneficiary. Okay, you're a beneficiary. Okay, a beneficiary doesn't have any liability because a beneficiary doesn't have any fiduciary duty. Okay, as when this first started, what is supposed to happen is when they passed in 1933, it seems like a lot of people lost sight of the original intent and purpose when all this got set up. The people who know and the people who don't know. The people who know is that you're not supposed to be paying for anything. Okay, that's the foundation of all this. Everything is prepaid. It's called a prepaid account. Okay, everything is already prepaid. All right, you're not supposed to be paying for cars. You're not supposed to be paying for your homes. You're not supposed to be paying utility bills. You're not supposed to be paying for anything because they took substance out of circulation. They are in possession of it as trustees. Okay, so they have the money and they've left in our republic only this, well, they placed us in a democracy jurisdiction, and they've only left within our possession this debt note paper and so forth. All right. But as private citizens of the republic, it was our, it was our substance that they took, and everything. And in law, you have to give some sort of consideration. You just can't take private property without just compensation. That's in the Constitution. You cannot take private property without just. So where is the just compensation coming from? All right, the just compensation probably that they would probably try to tell you is that we gave you Federal Reserve notes to operate in commerce with, and things of that nature. But the just but no, you took my gold. Okay, now where is that at? You got to take that back. My substance. You give me some fake paper. All right, so yeah, so as that fact is, and you're trying to get my labor is my own labor and so forth. So with that fact and everything, they are supposed to pay for everything. All right, you're not supposed to be paying for anything. Now, when as far as collapsing the trust, to me, that is people trying to get totally out of the system. They're trying to just get away from the government or just take total control of everything. And you got to look at it like this: would the federal government allow you to do that? I want you to think about this for a second, because this is another issue that comes up: whether or not you are a enemy of the state. Okay, if everybody was to take their substance or collapse these trusts like you're talking about, then where would the United States get any ability to, create revenue for itself? Now, there can be arguments for and against it, because I don't want to sound like an agent, because the first thing people start doing is try to label me some sort of agent. I try to, my years of experience and dealing with these people and seeing how violent they can be, all right, because a lot of y'all ain't just dealt with them and everything. Y'all know how violent they can get. So part of my teaching comes from that aspect too, trying to prevent any of you from having some sort of violent encounter with these maniacs, because they are if they get desperate, they will come and they'll come and knock on your door. Okay, but if everybody's taking the assets out of the United States, they now have nothing else to do. Now you're looked at as an enemy combated, or something to that effect. Whereas with other approach, you can use it as a win-win. You have two types of things you can get in. You can get into a win-lose situation, or you can get into a win-win situation. What you're looking for is a win-win situation. You're looking for a win for the United States, and you're looking for a win for yourself. Okay, because in now this gets into natural law, because in natural law there isn't any win-lose situations. Everything has to benefit everybody. That's a principle of natural law. When you start engaging in these mindsets that a lot of people get in, the reason that they don't win is because it's kind of going against natural law. Because everything the universe is a benefit for everyone. So with the United States, the bond, where you're doing a secure party process and giving them this bond, you're encumbering, you're putting a first lien, you're the priority, and you're not taking the property out. You're putting a claim against the property, and you have the first claim against it, because all these other people, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to access your property by putting liens on it. When you get a charge in federal court or state court, that's a lien. Okay, they're trying to put a lien against you, but they can't put a lien against you if you're the first, if you're first in line, first in time. You have priority interest in it. You're a third party intervener. Remember, you are not the straw man. They're not putting a lien against you. They're putting a lien against your estate, the Social Security Trust, the SSK Trust. All right, but you are putting one against it. So now you are honoring them by saying, look, you can't put a lien against my trust, but I will honor you. I have a bond on file with the Treasury Department. Here's a negotiable instrument. You can access the credits, because this is all dealing with credit. There isn't any money. That's another thing that I'm trying to curious about. What is in this trust that everybody's saying they're going to access? There isn't any money. There's no gold in there. What are y'all talking about? Y'all going to get out of the trust? I mean, what is in there? It's like there's no money. I mean, I could have said, they said we're getting gold and silver. We're getting our gold and silver back, but everything is just accounting. Everything is accounting. It's all accounting. It's all money of account. The only thing that could be in those trusts is money of account. It's an accounting procedure. So we're dealing with accounting. So this is my view and my approach to the whole thing. I've heard all of that with the collapsing of the trust. Patrick Devine is the one that I think one of the first people that I saw. He has a ton of information. I think I put it in y'all Dropbox. I put all this stuff. Did I put it in your Dropbox? Let me see if I put all that stuff in your Dropbox. I thought I added a whole bunch of Then I do a. I didn't put it in there. I'm put it in there after classes be over. You'll see a folder that says Patrick Devine, and that's gonna have everything that he has regarding collapsing the trust and everything. I got a lot of his stuff on that, and I like Pat. I don't have anything against Pat. Some of the stuff is kind of hard to follow at times to me, but it just as studying trust, I just really didn't. It didn't make sense to me. How you going to collapse a trust and you're not a trustee of it. You have, I just how y'all saying you gonna take how you gonna take the assets out? You have to be the trustee. Now, if you're appointing yourself as a trustee, and then I think he has some in his paperwork where he's appointing himself as the trustee, and then he's removing those, and he's sending in notification that he's removing those assets out of the trust. And the reason he has the SS4 form, he's forming a foreign grantor trust, and he's transferring those assets into that trust that he is the trustee over, that he has control over. It was a very good process as far as the theory behind it went. I understand it completely, and it's very well thought out. I just had one question. How are you going to collapse the trust? That's what y'all asking. How you going to collapse the trust? Y'all keep asking that question too. And I'm studying. I'm like, okay, how you going to collapse this trust? It's like you don't really have control over it. You didn't set it up. You didn't form it. You don't have any. You're a beneficiary. So how you don't have access to any of their paperwork behind the scenes or to substantiate anything you're saying. The only thing you have is evidence that they have created an entity through that birth certificate, that your labor, because that is the only thing they can tax, is your labor. They don't have anything else. They're in bankruptcy. They're $20 trillion in debt. It's on the public record. They can't deny that. They bankrupt. Okay, they bankrupt entities, so they don't have no money. All right, so they operating off of dead paper. So only thing else they can get, because they done hawked off everything in the country, is the bodies of the citizens of the country, and that's where you saw that UCC1 form. Now, there's some questions about that UCC, the authenticity of that. I haven't done enough research behind it, but I know what you're talking about: the arms, legs, um, all of that. That's been floating around the internet for probably about 10 years, too, or somewhere in that, a couple of years, lot of years, but it makes sense that they have to have some sort of claim against the estates of all the citizens. If the Full Faith and Credit Act is to have any effect in the Constitution with the United States, they have to pull credit from somewhere, and the only way they can pull it from is from the labor of the citizens of the country, because there's no other all the other assets are put into trust. Because when you go into bankruptcy, bankruptcy is a trust situation. Okay, they appoint a trustee over that. You put all of the property in the trust, and then now the trustee, he goes about to pay the debts of the trust, which is supposedly what they're doing when they're paying. They're taking our income taxes and things, like President Ronald Reagan said. None of your income tax is going to pay for any of the services. 100% of it is going to pay the Federal Reserve, the certificate holders in the Federal Reserve. So that's what I see. As far as collapsing a trust, let me get back to the question. As far as collapsing a trust, I haven't seen anything yet that makes sense to me on that particular point. And I have all Patrick. Matter of fact, let me put it here right now. I'm gonna put, while we on the phone, I'm gonna put all this stuff in there right now for y'all. Let me locate it. But go ahead. You had another question?
Well, no, I think they used the IRS Form 966 to collapse the straw man corporation, and that's really what collapses the trust.
Let me see.
I think that's the whole idea behind it.
I think I've seen that form too. Let me see if this is a form. IRS Form 966.
Mm-hmm.
Corporate dissolution and liquidation. Well, yeah, could be possible. Yeah, I haven't seen this form. I've never seen this form. I haven't seen this one. Could be possible. Looks good. I mean, let's see. Check the return. I have to read it. They say, well, who must file? Let's see. When to file? Where to file? Where is it? Foreign corporations. Because usually they have something in here. They'll say, see reference, section reference to the Internal Revenue Code, otherwise noted. Who must file? A corporation or a farmers cooperative must file Form 966 if it adopts a resolution or plan to dissolve the corporation or liquidation of its stock. Exempt organizations and qualified subchapter S subsidiaries should not file Form 966. Exempt organizations should see the instruction for Form 990, return of organizational exempt form, income tax. Oh, let me put on this screen so y'all can see it. Sorry. And do not file Form 966 for demand deemed liquidation, such as Section 3338 section, or an election to be treated as a disregarded entity. I have to read all of this, but looks interesting. Looks interesting. Looks interesting. Because yeah, I'm gonna tell you what kind of person I am. I'm gonna read Form 8869. I'm gonna go and read Regulations 301, 7701 through 3. Okay. I'm gonna read Section 338. I'm gonna everything on here that they tell me to read. I'm gonna go look up. That's just how I do it to see, because a lot of people see the name of it, which is very interesting name, but I'm not gonna go by that. But like I said, it looks interesting. Looks interesting. And see right here where it says required under 6403A of the Internal Revenue Code. Have you read that right there, 643A?
I'm in the process of reading it right now. I just found
Okay.
this form.
Yes, exactly. So, that's what I'm saying. So a lot of people will say things and everything, and I'll go and read it. Let's see, liquidation, transaction. Within 30 days after adoption by the corporation of a resolution or plan for the dissolution of the corporation or liquidation of the whole or any part of its capital stock, make a return setting forth the terms of such resolution or plan, and such other information as the secretary shall by forms or regulations prescribe, and when required by the secretary, make a return regarding its distribution and liquidation, stating the name and address of the number and class of shares owned and the amount paid to each shareholder, or if the distribution is in property other than money, the fair market value as of the date. This looks interesting. Changes in control and recapitalization, cross references. This looks promising. I'm not going to discount it. I'm not going to discount it. It looks promising. Looks very, very promising. They got IRS rulings right here. These documents, sometimes referred to as private letter rulings, are taken from the IRS written determinations page. The IRS also publishes a full explanation of what they are and what they mean. The collection is updated at our end daily. It appears that the IRS updates their listings every Friday. Note that the IRS often titles documents in a very plain, vanilla, duplicative way. Do not assume that identically titled documents are the same, or that a later document supersedes another with the same title. That is unlikely to be the case. Release dates appear exactly as we get them. Yeah, see, you gotta read. I'm gonna tell you this though. I'm gonna tell you this though. Now, I do believe this. I was told that I read it somewhere. I forgot where I got it from. That the answer is in Title 26. And there's only one person that I've heard of that went through the entire Title 26 and found the answer. Now, when we're talking about a trust, if we're talking about the Social Security account number is a trust, it would make sense to me that the indenture or the instructions or the indenture for that trust would be in Title 26. And it's probably written in a way when you first look at it, it doesn't look like an indenture, because that's what they do, because they go by principles. Everything is a principle. So the principle is how they're able to disguise things from you, because too many people get caught up into the form of something. Like, for instance, that's why you have fraud in the factum. Fraud in the factum is you sign a negotiable instrument, you didn't know it was a negotiable instrument. Like when you go up to the dealership and fill out a application for a car, you didn't know they can negotiate that. That has value. All right. Well, the same thing. You may be looking at a trust and not know it's a trust. Okay, a trust can be a trust, whether it's called a trust or not. Like a prospectus. A prospectus is an indenture. People, they call it a prospectus, but you don't know it's an indenture agreement. So it's like, so I really believe that in a lot of answers are contained in the IRS code. I really believe that. I believe all the answers that we're looking for is in the IRS code. Title 26 is the biggest code section in all of the United States codes. And I think that the answers are in there. And you have websites like Fam Guardian and things like that. They've been, that's all they've done. you know, for so long. A lot of the gurus that y'all respect out there, that's where they went and got a lot of their initial education is from websites like that. I don't agree with everything that I read on those websites, but as far as taxes and so forth, they have done a lot of thorough knowledge on those websites, and they haven't been taken down yet. They haven't been taken down or anything like that. They've had a couple of challenges, but they haven't been taken down. They haven't been, and no injunction, I don't think, has been issued against them or anything like that. So those guys over there are pretty tough. They're pretty tough too. I give credit where credit is due. But I think that you may be on to something. That's my answer.
Cool. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. All right, let me get Calvin Richmond.
Hey, Yusuf, quick question. My course progress, will you be updating that soon?
Did you what do you mean updating it? Because I'm gonna tell you this. I forgot to say this. Everybody's when they migrated the website, everybody's courses got erased. I apologize for that. Uh, but that's what happened. Everybody everybody's information. You know, it's like it's a database. They erased the database. So is that what you're asking me? Your old grades and everything?
Right, because I
I
remember that.
know. I know. Listen, y'all. I apologize for that, but it was out of my hands. You know, I didn't know that was going to happen. They're supposed to migrate the databases. I'm gonna go and check and see. I'll go and check and see if they got the databases, but you're probably gonna have to retake everything. Is it a problem? You don't want to retake everything over again?
No,
You
I don't
know?
have a problem. I was just double checking, make sure. Okay, he's still, doing the website. Maybe
Yeah,
that's
that's a database issue. That's not that didn't have anything to do with me. That's a database issue. And I didn't, when I saw it, I knew I was gonna. I said, man, let me tell you, I don't like things like that because I know I'm gonna get a ton of emails. It's like I'm gonna get a ton of emails on this right here. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to see that. Trust me, I did not want to see that. I'm like, wow, everybody's gonna hit me up on that. But no, hey man, you gotta retake it, man. That's all I can
all
tell
right.
you.
That's no problem. I get started on it. Appreciate it.
All right. This right here is all the Patrick Devine stuff. You can see right here. He got like 9-8 information in here. I just put it in there for you. Here's your 39, 49 A's. He has an SS4 for the grantor trust. He has an SS4 for the estate, and he has his SS4 for the I think it's the corpus on here too. And he has all his explanations of where is this thing on collapsing the trust? Let me see if this is it. Where he explains the collapsion of this trust. And if you're interested in it, it's there. I know I told y'all I'd give you all of these gurus information I've gotten over the years. Some of it was very good too. Some of it's very good. But like I've had this right here, I think for years. But he has he explains it, why you're doing the 3949A, the reason for the form 56, income tax. What is this? Where is it at? The living trust files, 411041T. It's some good stuff. Um, you got the unseen soul not seen. He talk about 1099A, B, and C, OIDs. I mean, he put a lot of research into it. Um, I used to listen to him a lot. I used to like him. I used to, really like Pat. I like his attitude and his his zest for it and everything. But he shows you how to fill out all the different forms. And this is where a lot of people got stuff from. I had this way before, I've had this so many years. A lot of guys talking about getting your 9-8 number and all that. He was doing this a long time ago. A long time ago. And let's see, you got a layout of how the Federal Reserve Bank operates, last will and testament, IRS website edition, fraud exposed. And I got some audios from him too. I'm gonna see if I can put those in here too. And this your 1099 A, B, and C. Yeah, this your 1099 A, show you how to fill your C's out. Everything's in here. So it's a lot of information that is in here if you want to go through it as far as collapsing the trust. And trust me, that was real big back in the day, because you know every guru has had their time. I'm gonna just tell y'all, every guru's come and gone, and they all have this. They all have this what they call a process. The only process that I've seen that has not went away is the secure party process, because it was the original process. Okay, the secure party process has been around. I know people who filed their UCC1 back in the 60s. So I'm telling you, okay, it's how long it's been around, a long time. We didn't have internet, and information back then was, you had a word of mouth, you had to know about it. But it's like people have been doing this for a long time. So, and that's why I put all those old videos up on YouTube from the 90s and all that. People been like in this a long time. They've been doing stuff. And so it's like now we in the age of information and social media, it's starting to spread like wildfire. But people been doing this for a long time. A lot of this stuff is not new. It's not new. So the stuff that I'm teaching you is not stuff I'm making up. I guess this is my point I'm trying to make. I'm trying to help y'all understand the process, the original intent of the process. Now, I will say this: once you understand the process, if you want to develop your own process, you can, because everything is based off of principles. You got to learn the principles behind everything you're doing. I just read a document with Chief Justice James Wilson. Okay, Chief Justice James Wilson, he was one of the founding fathers. Okay, and he was probably the most savvy and also the most intelligent amongst the founding fathers too. They don't like to talk about him and John Jay too much because they were very Christian, and as well as they were proponents that the people were sovereign. That's why they don't teach none of these stuff in law school. You don't see any of this Chisholm versus Georgia case. Y'all can go. I just devoted a whole a video, and Randy E. Barnett, who's a professor at the University of Virginia, I think, he wrote a paper on it. And that video I did, I'm reading his paper because I read a lot of law reviews. I'm real big with law reviews. I love law reviews. I like to see what the professors and the students are saying. But he went in on it. He's like, look, they won't teach this in law school. And that's why you have all these attorneys and everything running around calling y'all crazy, sovereign citizens and things like that, because they don't know. They don't know. Okay. But the thing is that when you understand natural law, okay, which in the Christian circles, they'll call God, they'll use God. Natural law and God are the same thing. Don't get it twisted. All right. Those are both synonymous terms. When you hear me say natural law, just think God. Okay. You're talking about God's law. Okay. God's laws are immutable, and he created everybody free and independent. Okay, and the only way that and free will is the number one principle. So when you see them talk about first principles, or what he says, general principles of right, general principle of right is you're a free and independent person. Nobody can put anything else is slavery. Okay, you can't force people to involuntary servitude. You can't make me be a part of your society if I don't want to be. Just because I was born in America, you can't make me be a U.S. citizen. These are things everybody's born. That's the first principle. Okay. And in that case, that's what he did. They came back and did an amendment, the 11th Amendment, and then as well, started passing court cases. Chief Justice Marshall, okay, in the what was that? Got the name of the case, Marbury versus Madison, and a lot of those other cases. They started to construe things in a way where the state is sovereign, okay, and we together as a group, our sovereignty is exercised through the arm of government and our representatives. Whereas prior to that, these original chief justices, they were like, no, that is not. I don't know where the hell you getting that from. That's not how the country was set up. You're going to see some arguments from people going back to the Federalist Papers, in particular Alexander Hamilton. And this is why you got to know all this other stuff too, because Alexander Hamilton was an agent for the Rothschild banking organization, and they're trying to do a new one world order. And the only way they can do that is that they got to make y'all beholding to them. And that is how they did it in this country through the 14th Amendment and these misinterpretations of the Constitution, people not understanding public and private, dumbing down the citizens so they don't know their rights and things like that. So now they are taking control of the planet, and you are willfully giving yourself to them. Willfully. Because the first principle is free will. You are free and independent, free will. So you have to voluntarily give yourself to these people. And they call you liberals. They call you crazy. They making all these things. And I'm telling y'all right now, I can see an agent. Phil Donahue, when he was interviewing James Wickstrom, I could tell he was acting as an agent by the questions that he was asking. The people in the audience who've been planted, they're going to plant people in. When you go to court, there's people planted in the courtroom in the audience. There are people in the jail. If you're in prison, they got prisoners in there. You might be in transit. They're talking you, trying to find that information. They got agents everywhere. They got agents on the internet. They got agents, y'all. Okay, debunkers, people in there trying to cast doubt in your mind. And that's why I take so much time to do these videos and everything and let you do the research. I know some people won't read, and I know some people can't read. And then I know some people have their level of comprehension is not that good. And I'm not trying to down anybody for that. But that just puts the burden on me to come up with creative ways to try to explain this to you, because they won't come to me and tell me that all this is bullshit, because I'm finna give them the business and I'm gonna show it in law books and everything. But to the general public, they can say these people are crazy. They sovereign citizens. They think they don't have to follow any law. And where if there is an agent online, everybody has to follow law. It's called God's law. And then they will, and this is how you know it's some sort of Luciferian conspiracy, because they make it, when you start talking about, go back and watch that Phil Donahue show. Every time he starts talking about Christianity and things like that, because I think Phil Donahue is a Jew and things like that, they don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear that. This country is based off Christian principles. The people who are taking over the country is not Christians. Y'all better wake up and see what's going on with your country and start studying history, real history. That's why you see me do all these videos on history, because that is necessary for you to understand, to you to kill what these people are telling you, that you're crazy, that you're a sovereign citizen. That's some of that redemption. That's some of that legal mumbo jumbo gibberish that you're discussing and everything. To kill all of that, you got to know your history. And you got to understand these are public servants with jobs, and it is your duty, right, to remove them from those jobs and put them in the unemployment soup lines, and possibly before firing squad. Because I do think there's a reason when you go to these courtrooms, there's so much security and everything. They know what they're doing. And they hoping and praying and sweating one day you don't wake up and find out that they are involved in treason. And they're going to make sure that they got enough plausible deniability in place to save their neck when that day does come that everybody finds out and everything. They don't want to be put before a firing squad or put a rope around their neck. So they publish things, and it's up to you to read them and find out. So, that's my only thing that's all I'm gonna say on that. But I put that in there for you if y'all want to check that out. And I'm gonna take one more question, and we gotta get started on the bonds real quick. All right. Let me go. Maria Martinez, do you have a question? Maria Martinez, you have a question? Yeah, hand up. All right, let me go to what is this? Ricardo Florimon, you had a question?
Hello?
Yeah, do you have a question?
How you doing, brother?
Hey, how you doing?
What's the best way to contact you some way, somehow, to get a consultation with you?
Well, I'm not doing any consultations, right? I don't have time to do consultations, but I might make an exception. Just contact me on the website. Everything's on the web. Send me a message on the website on my Facebook. I got it where you can send private messages or public messages. So everything is on the website now. I don't know how late y'all got in, but I just went over the website. On the website, I've added a lot of features. You have your profile right here, and you can message me right here. You can send me a message right here.
Yeah, because I sent for a friend request and you accepted it, and I wrote back to you.
Okay, you wrote back. I just probably haven't got a chance to read it yet, But
Okay.
that's where I'm going to be answering. Most of my stuff is going to be on my website. I'm setting all this up for a reason. I'm not trying to. I got about 10 different emails. Everybody emailing me all over the place. Just if you're a student and you're involved in this, contact me on the website. You know,
Okay.
that's what everything is for. Contact me on the website, and you'll get You'll get a quicker answer and and a well thought out answer if you hit me here. Because I'm not checking my email that much anyway right now because it's just a ton of stuff in there. Because I'm getting emails from all over the place, and I get consultation requests all the time. I can't, it's not about money or anything like that. I just don't have the time, to do everybody. It's like because I'm working on so many different things. But if you need a consultation, if it's that important, I can make exceptions.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. Okay, y'all. Let's get to the business. Let me take a quick break. I need a break from doing all that talking. Let me take a 15-minute break. When we come back, we are going to start on this bond. Okay. We're going to start on some bonds, put together as a bond. I want y'all to understand this bond now, what this is, because this is very important for you to understand this bond. So we're going to talk about that. Y'all take a 15-minute break. We come back. We're going to get on this bond, all right? Okay, I'm back. And real quick, before we begin, I wanted to share something with all of you. The importance, first of all, of history. I cannot stress the importance of knowing history. In particular, one case in particular is the Chisholm versus Georgia case. And these 5 Supreme Court justices ruled on it. There was only one dissenter of on that case, and this is this guy right here. His name is James Iredale, and he didn't really say that the people weren't sovereign. What he did was he presented an argument that they didn't have jurisdiction over the case because he didn't want to address the question, and that's what the Supreme Court does. The Supreme Court will use their power not to address certain questions and leave it open to interpretation or for the especially if it's a political question or something to that effect. But you really need to study John Jay and James Wilson and all of their different views. Now, James Wilson was from, he was from Scotland, and that's something else. And Iredale was from England. And we already know that they went to war and had some differences and things of that nature. So, Scottish, they were all about freedom, and the English, they were oppressive. They're all about oppressing people and so forth. This is why history is so important, because when you know history and you go back and read this stuff, it is so interesting. Now that I know law the way that I do, I go back and read this stuff, man. It is so interesting to me to listen to read these papers. Like James Wilson, you should read some of his papers, the lectures that he gave at the University of Pennsylvania. And that's what I wanted to tell you. There was a young student that as a young boy, he was saying, the law, there's too much law to read. I can't learn all of this. And he said, look, you don't need to read all of that. All you need to do and learn is the principles. You learn the principles. And that's what I tell people, the same thing. That's with anything. Learn the principles first. The principles are few methods. All that other stuff is methodology, procedures, and all of that. Learn the law principles. Read the maxims of law. Those are the things you should be studying. Those are the things that should be ingrained in your mind. And when you do, it helps you understand the law so much more because you can see where they're applying principles and statutes, whether it's in the common law or whatever, in courtroom decisions, things of that nature. You'll see, okay, he applied this principle right here. You got to learn the principles of law. The principles of law you can learn within a year or two. Okay, trying to study. I don't know everything. I can't go into the law library and I don't know every IRS form. I don't know. I haven't read every book in the law library. I don't know the definition of every word in Black's Law Dictionary. Nobody does. That's a maxim of law. Many men know many things. No man knows everything. That's a maxim. That's a maxim. Okay. That's a well established principle. So if anybody tries to pretend like they know everything, get away from them because they don't, because nobody knows everything as it relates to this. The reason that I set up the website the way it is like the lady who just introduced that IRS Form 966. She should start a study group. You can go back here and you can create a group for yourself, and you can also create a form, and then y'all do the research on that. This is how this movement is going. This movement is only going to keep going with people educating themselves. And that's only going to come through the efforts of a great variety of people. Okay, it's not going to come through the efforts of one person. All right, it's just not. It's not going to come through one person. Y'all can believe that all you want to. Winston Stroud, Gene Keating, me, and some other people. We're intelligent, but we don't know everything. We don't have all the answers. All right, I don't have all the answers. But the thing is that if you have a study group and everybody is concentrating on something or different things and everything, that helps the acquisition of knowledge become much more. And then you use this as your storehouse of knowledge. You use this as your storehouse of knowledge where you store your information and so forth. That's how this is going to work. I'm trying to tell y'all, you got to research, form your group, y'all start researching. Form your bond group, y'all have to work together. You have to work together. One of the problems that is happening in this country is people have begin to isolate themselves from each other. No man is an island. You're isolating yourselves and not communicating with each other. You need to be communicating on a mass scale and sharing information. That's another thing. People don't like to share information. All right, because somebody will turn around and try to monetize it or do something like that. But the thing is this secure party process, I didn't create it. I did not create any of this. Everything that I'm teaching y'all, I did not create. Okay. I am teaching it to you so you will know it. If you want to use it or not, that's your business. But the thing is, you're going to know it. Okay. And then when you know it, then you can make a decision. You can make an educated decision on whether or not it's for you, whether it has any basis in law or fact or whatever. But for you to make that decision, first, you got to know it. You can't call something crazy or something and then you don't know it. You got to know it first and learn the principles. And the only way you're going to be able to establish whether or not it has any type of foundation is if you understand law principles. You have to understand these principles. You understand the principles, then you won't be able to be deceived. Deception comes. The only way you can be deceived is if you're not educated on something. You got to be educated on it. And history is important. Read those. I'm reading these papers from what I'm doing right now. I'm real heavy into history right now. I'm reading papers from James Wilson, all right, and John Jay, and these courtroom decisions and everything, the philosophy that these people have, the anti-federalists and the federalist papers. You're going to see justices refer to them a lot. You're going to see a lot of congressmen refer to them. They refer to them because you have to understand there is an argument of what the original intent, and see that lets you know that it is a trust document too, because whenever a trust indenture agreement comes into question, then you have to take it before a court so that the interpretation of the document, the intent of the settler, can be determined. And that's what you're going to see a lot of these senators and congressmen and people like that is the arguments, a lot of arguments that are come up or over the original intent of the founders and their creation of this document. You got to read this and you got to understand. And what you're going to see, I'm going to tell you what you're going to see. You're going to see that there is an Illuminati. Okay, you're going to see that this plot has been going on for a long time, and once you educate yourself, you're going to see how they misconstrue things using the arms of the courts and everything like that to try to twist things, all right, in their way. And this is why it's important for you to learn natural law. You have to know that you're going to see all these guys talk about natural law. Most of the founding fathers were deists. And natural law can work for you or against you. Don't think because you know natural law that all it can be against you in the sense that, hey, one of the things is you have free will. Nobody's going to make you do anything. If you make a decision and engage in something and you're not educated about it, if you sign a contract and don't read the contract, okay, that's nobody's fault but your own. That's nobody's fault. You can't blame somebody else for that. The responsibility lies with you. And you're going to see this, and this is what you're going to start to see. So you're going to also start to understand why I do things the way that I do, because one of the things is you have to contend with so much naysaying and things that you have to contend with. And then when you turn around and try to explain something, that's why I'm so thankful for YouTube, because now I get to make videos and show. That's why I moved away from blog talk so much, because now I can give you imagery. Okay, I can show you documents. I can narrate things and do things like that. I can show you what I'm talking about. And that's why I'm spending so much time on YouTube, because I can show it to you now. And I like that. And, I can look up a word and kind of put it together and then make it entertaining too, because people need to be entertained. Call it edutainment if you want. But it's like a form of edutainment. If I can make it interesting, compelling, and everything, and educate the people, and that's what I attempt to do. That's my goal and everything. So I just want y'all to be aware of that. One of the things Iredale said, James Wilson said, he said, he told the young boy, he said, you don't have to study all the law, learn the principles. And I'm gonna find that for you. It was a speech given in Philadelphia, at the University of Philadelphia. And they got his documents and everything. He was giving the speeches in the 1700s. And another thing that you're going to find that that I always find very interesting is how intelligent people were back then. And I attribute that to the fact that they didn't have television and so many distractions. A lot of them, what they did is to learn law is that they used to debate in pubs and things of that nature. That's how they sharpen their skills. In debating, they read the books, like William Blackstone commentaries was a real big book back then, and the Bible. and things of that nature. Those are two of the foundational books this country was established on too. I hope y'all understand that. I know that. Um, but they would read these books and everything, and then they would come into pubs. Look at this website as your pub. Look at this website where you can go and engage people in discussion, in debate. you know. And when you make a debate, I'm gonna tell you something else that, from the organization I came from, is that only deal with the facts. Okay, if you want to lead somebody to heaven, keep your opinions to yourself. I give my opinion on things sometimes, but I try to stay away from it because the only thing that's really going to have any efficacy is we deal with facts, something that can be substantiated beyond any doubt. Start with that first. And usually that will lead you into the theories and things like that because now you can deduce things based off of a certain given set of facts. So that's what, I just want to give you that message before we move on. And I hope that, resonates with some of you and everything. And, history is important. It is very important. And a lot of my videos are going to be dealing with history and seeing what these guys are saying. I mean, I'm shocked sometimes some of the things that I read. They sit there and say, well, y'all not sovereign. These people told us straight up we were sovereign. They took that away from everybody by amendments to the Constitution, which is very interesting because now you got representatives in Congress, okay, in legislatures and everything supposed to represent you, and they're up there not, representing the interests of their constituency, passing laws and everything that are against their constituency's interest. So whose interest are they passing these laws in? And this is when you're going to start to see. You're going to start to really see. I'm telling everybody, there is a conspiracy. There are secret societies. I didn't believe it either at first. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but when you find out, it's going to shock you too, and you're going to start to see it. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I don't engage in things like that. When I was a guy just trying to make money on the street, and when a lot of things are brought to me, it astounded me too. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. I'm like, man, I can't believe this is actually going on. This is real. It's almost like finding out one day that the devil is real. That you're in your room one day and you've heard about this Satan person all your life, but it was just a figment of people's imagination. And one day he walks in your room, complete with half goat, half man with a pitchfork, red, sit down, talk to you, and telling you he's waiting for you. He's been watching you all your life and waiting for you. That day, your life changes and it will never be the same, no matter what nobody tells you, no matter what. Then you begin to look at all the people when you go out and after you've met this devil, then you walk out into the public and then you start talking to people about the devil. And then somebody say, the devil doesn't exist. You're making that up. You're trying to deceive the people. And then you look that person in his eye and then you can see you're a demon. You're one of the agents of him. Because the biggest trick that the devil ever played is to make people believe he don't exist. That's what secrecy is all about. John F. Kennedy gave you a speech. He told you. John F. Kennedy straight up told you. That's what got him killed. Straight up told you that, okay, we got that. Woodrow Wilson told you. He told you. Okay. These people, you go back and read their speeches, they telling you it's people behind the scenes running everything and pulling the strings. William Cooper and Behold a Pale Horse, the Treaty of Verona. You see the high contracting powers, all these things, all these plans that they got. And what you're going to see is they have a right to implement everything that they're doing, but you have a right also not to participate. Remember that. They have a right to do what they're doing, but you have a right not to participate. All right. Let's get to this. All right. This is a bond. The first thing I want to do on this bond, I want to read the verbiage on it. Okay, I want to read the verbiage on this bond. Okay, I hope y'all can see this. Because I want y'all to understand this bond order is an indenture agreement. I want y'all to understand this is like a trust indenture. And the reason I want y'all to see that is because once you begin to understand that, now you can begin. Once you learn this, I'm going to tell you, once y'all learn this, y'all going to look at some of those past secure party processes very simplistic. I'm going to tell you. You're like, man, this is not sophisticated at all. I can do better than this. You're going to start seeing that. I'm going to try to tell you, you're going to look at it like, man, who wrote this, man? Man, this is like, I could have made something a lot more comprehensive and compelling than this right here, that what he did. But, sometimes simple is better too, though. Sometimes simple is better. It's not always you need to be overly complex. But I want to read this bond order to you first. Is this section? This section right here. All right. Let me see if I can I can get it on here. We can see it. I'm gonna read it to you. It says, please deposit this bond to an account bearing the registered mail number indicated by the tracking number on the left side of this document. Now, notice that first sentence that you say, you're telling them to create an account. Okay. Now we have to get in, what is an account? Account is just something on paper. Okay. So your account number is your what? Your registered mail number. That's your account number, your registered mail number. So that is the number that you're going to always reference. Remember that. Okay. The account number is to be used for future identification purposes upon presentment to the United States Treasury. And I get a typo right there. The bond is claimed on a UCC-1 filed with the state of Texas and Georgia UCC divisions to provide notice of claim pursuant to UCC 3-302 and UCC 3-305A and UCC 3-306 as to the issues as to the issuer's status of holder in due course. Now, what is that saying right there? That there is a claim on this instrument. You have to put a claim on anything you issue if you're going to be a holder in due course. That is what UCC 3-302 is discussing, and also claims to an instrument. Okay, when you read, we're going to go over UCC 3-302, but you are the holder in due course, and they are the holder. He's becoming, and that's what I saw on some of the older bonds. They had the Secretary of Treasury listed as the holder in due course. He's not the holder in due course because it tells you on the instrument that he has returned the bond to you at its expiration. You're the holder in due course. Everything has to come back to you. This bond is to be used for the express purpose of set off account against any bills, of setting off, it should be setting off of accounts against any bills, taxes, or claims, and the like against the real man name. It's a lot of typos on here. The full social security number, no dashes, or any bills, taxes, or claims, and the like against the straw man, your all caps name, the debtor, to real man, and then put the, and then two, and then you're going to put your real, your lowercase Christian appellation of your name. Secure party, see enclosed UCC-1 financing statement. You're going to include a UCC-1 financing statement with this. The reason that you're doing it is you are showing them evidence that you already have a claim on this bond. Because in the UCC in 3-302, they have to have notice for you to be the secure party. They have to be given notice that you have a priority interest in that particular negotiable instrument. If you don't give them notice that you have a priority interest in that negotiable instrument, they become the holder in due course, and they don't have to give you anything back or tell you anything or anything like that. Once again, I'll illustrate. It's just like finding a $20 bill on the ground. $20 bills are securities. They're negotiable instruments. They have signatures on them. They have check numbers. They have the whole nine. Okay. All right. Now, if let's say the drug enforcement DEA is going to do a sting against someone. Well, and I know what they do this because I've seen the court records. They take the money and photocopy it and then file a copy of it in the case. They might have the case sealed. And then they'll file the copy of all the money that they photocopied. That's how they establish their claim on the money. And then they come and give you the money and circulate it. Next thing you know, they come and find you and you got that money. They already got a claim on it. They have to have a claim. They have to be able to prove that they are the holder in due course of that particular money. Well, if you're walking around and you drop a $20 bill on the ground and somebody else picks it up, okay, it doesn't matter if it has signatures on it. There are signatures on that instrument, but you found it and somebody else tried to make a claim against it. You're going to say, well, where's your proof of claim? Where's your proof of claim? What do you have to prove? Because this $20 bill has a unique serial number on it. Okay. What do you have to prove to me that this is yours? Y'all starting to understand what I'm saying? Okay. These are principles that I'm trying to express to you. Okay. Now, please adjust any bills, taxes, or claims and the like against your lower capitalization name. Okay, now you're telling them to adjust the books. Okay, see certificate of live birth or the straw man name with the social security, all caps name and the social security number with dashes to zero. You want them to balance out your account. You want them to zero out your account. Okay, now in some processes, what you're going to see some people will write them with what is called a debt assessment letter. And what a debt assessment letter is, you're telling the IRS to send you if your account is out of balance and you owe money essentially, then you want them to provide that everything to you, and so forth. But with this right here, you're just telling them to settle the account, zero out the account, settle all debts. Remember, that one of the principles that I learned also is why would they discharge a debt for you and your books are out of balance? Wouldn't it make sense that if you send them a negotiable instrument that they apply that to your account first before they start discharging any debt for you? That makes sense to me. Why would you send me something? You owe us money. Well, I'm gonna sit here and balance. You already got some debts back here that you owe. You want me to set off this, and we got about $2 million worth of debt back here on your books that you haven't paid. Okay. Something to think about. Just something to think about. We're talking about accounting. Remember that. We're talking about accounting and credits. All right. Okay. So it says Stephen Turner Munchkin. I think he's a munchkin. Okay. That's what name look. It's just I think that's a munchkin. Secretary of the Treasury, the United States Department of the Treasury shall have 30 days from the date of receipt of this bond as witnessed by the date of receipt affixed to the U.S. Postal International Mail receipt. That's your Form 3811 form. You're going to send this registered mail, not certified mail, registered mail. And when you use certified or registered mail, you both still use the 3811 form. That form comes back to you. That is your evidence. Those forms are very important. Okay, because they establish the fact that you have a claim. That's why you need to bring them into court as exhibits. Also, a lot of people lose in court because they don't put enough evidence into the evidence file. And the courts take a solid judicial notice of that fact. To dishonor this bond by returning this bond to the principal with an explanation of all deficiencies. Okay, and what you're doing is if I give you a negotiable instrument and you refuse it, then you got to give me a statement of what is the defects in the instrument. You had to return it to me with from a qualified third party, identifying the defects and allow me an opportunity to cure. Because if there's a defect in this instrument, then I need to be able to cure it because they are trustees. They are public servants. They have fiduciary duties to do. This is your remedy. They cannot deny you your remedy unless you have some sort of defect in process. All right. At the stipulated mailing address by non-domestic post. Okay. Notice that we're requiring that you to send this non-domestic post. Okay. You're private. You want to operate outside of their jurisdiction. Failure to return the bond, as stated, shall constitute acceptance and honoring of this bond. The associated transactions and presentments in accordance with the law by Stephen Turner Munchkin, Secretary of the Treasury, and the United States Department of the Treasury to all the terms and conditions contained herein. This bond shall be ledgered as an asset as best suits the needs of the undersigned principal. This bond expires at the moment real man name expires, void where prohibited by law. Now, this is one verbiage. Let me get you another one. Let's see. Let's find where's the other one? Let me see what this one says. Yeah, I like this one too. All right. I wonder if somebody changed that bond, that blue bond, because that don't look like what I put on that bond. Let's look at this verbiage right here.
This is the verbiage I was looking for. This is a bond that's been floating around for a long time, but that's very good verbiage on it. Tim Turner was very good at creating bonds. That's one thing he was real good at. But it says, know all men by these presents to facilitate lawful commerce in the absence of substance-backed currency in circulation. Timothy F. Geithner, he was the old Secretary of Treasury, or agents thereof, fiduciary, upon receipt of this private discharging and indemnity bond, and you're going to put your bond number, shall post the full face value of the bond as an asset to the benefit of the United States Department of the Treasury to be used and applied specifically in the manner described here under for the purposes of securing honorable settlement for account holders and accounts listed below. The fiduciary has entered into the books of the grantor as the registered holder. And this is the verbiage I use. I don't know who. Let me look at this. Did somebody change? I hope y'all not changing things in these drop boxes. If you are, I'm going to have to restrict your access. I don't know. Maybe that's just another order that was put up because that looks strange right there. But this is what you want because you want it to be you want it to be you want to be to the benefit of the United States, but you also it's to your benefit too because they're going to take the interest off of it, which is called a windfall, and use that for their benefit. Okay, that any windfall that they gain, the principal is dedicated to you. The windfall from it, you are giving it to the United States. Remember what I said earlier about a win-win situation. You always want to look for a win-win situation, not a win-lose. Don't engage in win-lose situations. Win-lose situations create controversy. That's controversy. Okay, you want win-win situations. All right. Do not create controversy. That's one of the rules. All right. So now we have set off. When did I wait a minute? Let me read this again. Did I read the whole thing? Know all men by these presents to facilitate lawful commerce in the absence of substance-backed currency in circulation. Timothy F. Geithner or agents thereof, fiduciary, upon receipt of this private discharge and an indemnity bond, shall post the full face value of the bond as an asset to the benefit of the United States Department of the Treasury to be used and applied specifically in the manner described hereunder for the purpose of securing honorable settlement for the account holders and accounts listed below. The fiduciary has been entered in the books of the grantor as the registered holder. Now, who are the books? You are the grantor, okay, and you are the registered holder. Now, we're using the term grantor, so what is that letting you know? Okay, we're getting into some trust discussion, okay? The settler of the account. He's the grantor settler, okay, and I'm listing you as the registered holder. Notice he's a registered holder. He is not the what? Holder in due course. And I think up here they had something like, if you look at some of these old ones, they had him the registered holder in due course. He's not the holder in due course. He's the holder. And you got to know this stuff. This is why you have to know this stuff. Let me tell you why you have to know it. People maliciously change stuff on these documents and issue them. There's some sick-minded people out there, and they know that y'all aren't reading them. This is why I'm reading it for you, because y'all will just go and fill out something, not knowing what it's saying. They changed this up here to registered. He had up here holder in due course. Okay, well, he's calling the Secretary of Treasury the holder in due course. You'll see it. You'll see it on the documents and everything. You'll go and see it. I have to point this stuff out to you because people don't read it. And then you go and fill this out, and then you wonder why it doesn't work. You're not reading the document. People change things. People don't know what they're doing. And then some people do it maliciously. I've seen it maliciously done where in a document, they change the wording in the document to benefit the government and everything and not you. And if somebody does that to you, you go out and fill that out. Now, some people do it because in hopes of that they will destroy what you're doing. Like people, like they might try to do it to me. It's happened to me. This is how I know about it. It's happened to me. People go in my Dropbox and they'll go in and change the verbiage on the document. All right, now you go in and you don't read it and you fill it out and you come back and say it don't work. That's one of their ways of trying to like, I can't stand you, Seville. I'm gonna try to do it. But what they don't know is I'm the person that reads everything. I ain't gonna fall for your simple-minded tricks. I'm gonna read it, and then I'm gonna put you on blast because Dropbox records everything. Every time somebody makes a change to a document, it's recorded. So those are things that I look at now. Just FYI, I just put y'all on notice and everything. Okay, you can change whatever you want in your own folder, but don't change anything in a group folder that everybody has access to. I don't think y'all are able to because I restricted it. But back in the day, I didn't understand how Dropbox worked, and I had it unrestricted, and that's what people were doing. And that's why you're seeing things like these bond numbers, like this is somebody else's bond number right here. You know, they didn't put this in here and, you know, and put it in the Dropbox, filled out and put it in the Dropbox and everything. And I have to go through and clean all that stuff up. But I've learned from that. But anyway, it says set off. Let's talk about set off next. This bond has been let me blow it up some more. Hopefully y'all can see that. All right. Y'all see that? All right. Right here, set off. This bond has been authorized and issued pursuant to the full faith and credit of the grantor, John Doe, and guarantors. Okay, and these is where you're going to get your two guarantors that are at the bottom of the page right here. All right, you have your first surety, second surety, and then you have the grantor, which is you. You are the grantor, and then you have to find two sureties and two witnesses. All right, so you're the grantor. Your name is going to go here, and two people, and preferably somebody who's engaged in this also, are going to be your grantors. This private offset account number is the number that's on the back of your social security card. Okay, and this care of, you always put care of because it's non-domestic without the United States. You put your zip code in brackets because anything is a principle of law. Anything in a box is not there. Okay, and that's why you put the brackets if you didn't know that. And you're going to find two witnesses and do the same thing likewise with them. So you have two sureties and two witnesses. All right, so this is what this is saying. So when you say set off, this bond has been authorized and issued pursuant to the full faith and credit of the grantor. What is the full faith and credit of the grantor? It's your labor. That's what the United States operates off of. The full faith and credit of the United States operates off the labor of the individuals, and you have claimed your labor and you're taking control of it. All right. So this bond has been authorized and issued pursuant to the full faith and credit of the grantor, John Doe, and guarantors, your first guarantor and your second, who do hereby hold, bind, and obligate themselves sui juris. Sui juris means by one's own right. Sui juris, jointly and severably, as voluntary sureties for all such account holders and accounts, each jointly and severably, including without limitation, birth certificate account number. You're going to put your birth certificate number there. For any sum up to and including $200 billion. We've changed that to 100 million. I think it should be 100 million. However, there's nothing written in stone about that, but I think it should be 100 million. Ensuring, underwriting, indemnifying, discharging, paying, and satisfying all such account holders and accounts dollars for dollar against any and all pre-existing, current, and future losses. So we have past, present, and future. All right. Losses, cost. Notice we have cost with an S. I want you to pay attention to that. Debts, taxes, encumbrances. These are liens. Deficits, deficiencies, liens, judgments, true bills, obligations, or contract or performance. Defaults, charges, any and all other obligations as may exist or come to exist during the term of this bond. Okay, what is the term of this bond? The term of this bond is located up here. Okay, you have your issue date and you have your maturity date, which is 30 years. You'll see that these bonds usually have a 30-year. I haven't gotten to the esoteric. I'm sure there's an esoteric reason behind that, why they do 30-year mortgages and things like that. But it's 30 years. So your original issue date is going to be the date you put this together and put it in the mail. When you fill this out, it should go in the mail that day. Okay. Well, it didn't have to. I shouldn't say that. All right. But when your issue, that is your issue date. You decide, I suggest that you put it in the mail that day. You date it. Okay. And then you have your maturity date. Anything, when you put something in the mail, it is filed. Okay. The government has it. Okay. So right here, you have your original issue date, 11/20/2015 or whatever. You can change this to the date, and it's going to all whatever date you decide over here, it needs to be 30 years later over here. Your bond number, you can be your initials, your date of birth, or whatever you want to do. You can use any convention that you want for your bond number. A lot of people use their date of birth because it's easy to remember, but you don't have to do that. Okay. So now it says, as a consequence thereof, the fiduciary shall satisfy all pre-existing. Hold on, let me get to this next one. Let's do all these right here now. All right. As a consequence thereof, the fiduciary shall satisfy all pre-existing and current liabilities. Okay, you have pre-existing and current liabilities. Anything that you owe, this is your debts. You want them to pay. Everything is supposed to be prepaid. They are fiduciaries. That was their duty. That's why I explained that to you earlier. You're not supposed to be paying for anything. However, you haven't told them anything either. Okay, so now you're giving them instructions. They are trustees. Okay, so the fiduciary, notice that they're called a fiduciary right here. They're labeled a fiduciary right here. Fiduciary. See that? Fiduciary. All right, fiduciary shall satisfy all pre existing and current liabilities as may exist without exception for, against, and on behalf of all such account holders and accounts, dollar for dollar, through the above noted private offset accounts, up to and including the full face value of this bond through maturity. All right, and this is another reason why they're saying that there's money in the accounts, because the private offset accounts, the number on the back of the Social Security number, that's your credits. These are the money. That's why you had this thing come up where people are trying to get money out of the accounts. Because when this secured party process was set up, you see in here that, well, what account are they talking about? Is credits in the account? Man, I should get the money. I want to get the money. When that's not how trust operates. It's just go study trust babies. Trust babies don't do anything. They don't work. I used to live in Laguna Beach. I lived in Laguna Beach for a little while. Laguna Beach is 99% white. It's 99% white. The cheap cars in Laguna Beach are Mercedes Benz 500s, 550s. Those are kind of like average cars in Laguna Beach. All right. Beach houses, 5, 6 stories high. I've never seen beach. I mean, they've taken beach houses to, if whatever your if you have looking at a beach house, something like Gilligan's Island or something like that, you haven't gotten out and traveled. All right, lately to see what a 5, 10, 15, $20 million beach house looks like. Okay, got like 4 or 5 stories and 20 rooms in it or whatever. All right, but anyway, uh, and Laguna, you find a lot of trust. There are a lot of trust fund babies in Laguna Beach. And what I noticed there when just walking the beach is like, man, they on the beach every day. They don't do shit. It's like, they don't do nothing. They get their money every month and they go play on the beach, chase girls, drive their cars and do whatever. It's the life. Okay. That's what we're supposed to be doing. They're supposed to be doing all of the work. They are public servants. That's what trustees do, work. Beneficiaries don't work. We take benefits. Okay. They have changed the word benefit for you to mean welfare. Like, like, okay, you can't have nobody live with you. We're going to give you this $300 check a month. Here's your benefits. That's not the benefit. Okay. The benefit is we help rescue you from sinking waters. All right. You owe us. Now, this is something they do owe. I hear people say, oh, yeah, they do owe us. But it ain't the money. You trying to take the money out of the account. I personally have never looked at it like that. But people want to try to take the money out of the account. Okay. And they're not going to let that happen because most people are not responsible enough. I've already said, I put out a video. One of my first videos I did is, what would you do with, I want people to form I'm gonna put a group or forum. I'm gonna put a topic up in a group, in a secure party group. What would you do with $200 million? And I want y'all to post in there and tell me what you're gonna do with it. Have you thought out? Okay, if you get access to $750 million, what you're gonna do with it? I mean, and then you're taking money out of the United States hands. You're actually crippling them. I had a banker explain that to me. It's like, you taking money out of circulation and things. So what are you going to do with $750 million? Can you put people to work? do you know how to organize a corporation? I'm learning that right now. I can admit I'm not very good. My organizational skills are still wanting, and still areas of wanting. But I'm sharpening. I'm a person that sharpens everything I do. It'll get there. And but that is key. You have to be organized. And I believe that organization starts with the home. If your home is not organized, you're not going to be able to organize no business. Starts with your house. Your house is not organized, your life is unorganized. Period. End of discussion. So organization, but what can you do? Okay, with this money, what are you going to do with this money? 200 million. What are you going to do? I want you to think about that. Understand that the United States deals with commerce. The UC, this is all commercial. It's all business. So the approach to it, I would suggest, should be a business approach. How you're looking at everything. Okay. Now, as a beneficiary, you're not engaged in all that. As a trustee, you are, because people talking about collapsing accounts. You're going to be a trustee. When you're a trustee, you're there to do business. As a beneficiary, you're there to sit down and not do nothing, because beneficiaries don't have liability because they have no responsibility for anything. Think about that. Think about those dual roles. If you're acting in the position of a trustee, as a trustee, you have a duty to perform. Trustees come with duties. And if you don't know what the word duty means, you need to look that word up and acquaint yourself with it. Let's keep going. Prepayment. Each of the said account holders and accounts should be severally insured, underwritten, and indemnified against any and all future liabilities as may appear, thereby instantly satisfying all such obligations, dollar for dollar, without exception. Notice this dollar for dollar verbiage comes straight out of House Joint Resolution 192. Without exception, to the above noted private offset accounts, up to and including the full face value of the bond through maturity. Now, what does this up to and including full face value of the bond until maturity? Well, that's the principle. In other words, this is every time, it's just like writing checks. If you put $200 in a bank account, every time you write a check, then you have to go to your checkbook, okay, and balance your checkbook and note the debits and credits for your particular account and balance your checkbook every month. Okay. I mean, when I was growing up, that was one of the first things my grandfather taught me is how to balance the checkbook. I never forget that. It's some things, you can teach a boy, that will go with him from the rest of his life. And that is one thing and another thing he did for me is he taught me how to tie a tie. That's who taught me how to tie a tie. I remember that day clear as day. And it's certain things that, you fathers out there, you may not think that, and y'all out there know what I'm talking about, that when the parent is doing it, he may not think, it's going to leave an impression, but there are things that can leave impressions for the rest of your life, just small moments. And that was one. Taught me how to tie a tie. Remember that. But that's what this is, up to and including the full face value of this bond through maturity. The maturity date is 30 years up here. All right. So this principle, this $200 million, every time you deduct something from that, okay, you need to record it. How you're going to record it, you're going to record it in the commercial chamber. Okay. This is what lawful orders for money and things of that are all about. Okay. That is your way of recording. You need to look at the UCC commercial chamber as a statement of account, demonstrating credits and debits to your account, primarily debits, all right? Because every time you discharge something, you're going to file a UCC3, okay? Then you're going to assign, which is an assignment, and you're going to assign a portion of this principal, this $200 billion, to whoever it is needs those credits, okay? And it's going to deduct that from that amount. So you can keep deducting that up to either if this exhausts, which that's probably not going to be possible, or the expiration of the bond, which is 30 years later. That's what that verbiage is discussing right there. Say it. So let me read it again. Prepayment. Notice everything is prepaid. Each of the said account holders and accounts should be severally insured, underwritten, and indemnified against any and all future liabilities as may appear, thereby instantly satisfying all such obligations, dollar for dollar, without exception, through the above noted private offset accounts, up to and including the full face, up to, the word up to, and including the full face value of the bond through maturity. All right. Dishonor. The fiduciary shall have 30 days from the date of presentment. Now, know the word presentment is another commercial term. Noted out. That's a commercial term. When you say some presentment, you're presenting something. Okay, it has to be presented for acceptance. If it's not going to be accepted, it has to be returned with evidence of a defect from a qualified third party and allow you an opportunity to cure. Cure means to make corrections. So the fiduciary shall have 30 days from the date of presentment noted on USPS Form 3811, which is your green form, to dishonor this bond by returning same to the grantor by registered mail at the location noted therein. Failure to so return will stipulate, and we're talking about a stipulation, which is an agreement, which is we're alluding to silence. All right here. Failure to return, failure to so return will stipulate the fiduciary's honorable acceptance of this bond and all obligations and liabilities hereunder on behalf of the United States. Maturity. Upon maturity at 11:59 p.m., that's 30 years later to the minute. As soon as 11:50, because when you go to 12 o'clock, it's another day. Okay. So you're taking it 11 out, you're taking it to the 11th hour, you're taking it to the 59th second. Right here. That's how precise that it is. All right, because that next second is going to be another year. Okay, this beginning of another year. So we're taking it all the way down to the second. 11/20/45. You're going to put the same date here. It's going to be the same date that goes up here. It's 30 years. All right. The secretary shall mark this bond canceled. He's going to count what they do with cancel checks. They cancel them and return this bond bearing marks of cancellation to grantor or grantor's heirs by registered mail. Why we say heirs? Because you may not be alive in 30 years. Okay. But you're going to cancel this bond bearing the marks of cancellation. It's going to be returned. The only way that they would have to return it to you is that you had a claim on it because you had to be the holder in due course of it. Bearing the marks of cancellation to the grantor or the grantor's heirs by registered mail, all profits and proceeds accruing since presentment to remain with the secretary for the benefit and use of the United States Department of the Treasury. Remember what I said about a win-win situation, where here's your win-win situation. Also, if you're going to appoint a fiduciary, fiduciaries have to be paid. You cannot require a fiduciary to work for you without being paid. That is a staple of trust law. They have to have some incentive to work for you. Okay, and if you want them working for you, you have to be paid. Okay, United States gonna say, okay, you want us to do all this? What's in it for us? Okay, well, here's what's in it for you. All the interests, okay, profits and proceeds, okay, accruing since this presentment to remain with the secretary. You can keep all the money you made off this bond. I'm giving you a $200 billion bond. If you go out and make $1 trillion on it, all that excess is yours. I just need the $200 billion. All communication shall be sent by United States registered mail directly to the grantor at the location hereunder exactly as shown. Service in any other manner is defective on its face. The grantor accepts post exclusively at the said location. Now, if they don't send it that way, that's called non-responsive. And witness whereof the signatories to this bond do hereby affix their respective hands and seals as authorized government contracting agents on this 25th day of the 17th month and anno domino in the year of our Lord 2014. Now, Tony King gets some discussion about this authorized government contracting agent, and you also have a GSA form. And I'm gonna stop and show you this real quick. I forgot what the form number is. Let's see. What was it? It was I think it was a standard form. Somebody probably knows on here. Y'all probably know what I'm talking. You have an appointment affidavit too. This is another one that we use also. This appointment affidavit was another one that we were using to appoint officials. This appointment affidavit, and let's see, but that's not what I'm looking for. There's your bid bond, performance bond, and your payment bond. your affidavit of individual surety. Then you have your I might have forgot it. Somebody might knows where it is, but you got this form on here. You should really go through these GSA forms too. As it's another set of forms in here that are real good too. It's not just those GSA. The GSA got, you got the Miller Act bonds also, but they have another set of bonds that are real good too. It's another set. Here, your Miller Ag bonds right here, your 22, 73, 74, and 75, your reinsurance bonds right here I was just talking about. And then you have your, y'all forgive me, man. Stuff be just be, sometimes I get absent-minded. I got so much information in my head, especially if I'm not talking about it. I haven't been talking about GSA bonds a lot. I'll think of, remind me later. I'll get back to it. I want to keep, but that is what that is discussing. Okay. I want you to, where is that? Wonderful. All right. That's what that's discussing. Authorized government authorized contracting agent. That's a GSA bond. You're going to see what the reason I was trying to show you the GSA bond, because I want to show you similarities in how bonds are done. Like you got the sureties right here in the principal. Well, I want you to think about the GSA form 24, 25, and 25A, or the Miller Act forms 273, 274, and 275. Think about that. Okay. You're gonna see a principle in operation. You're gonna see, some principles that you're following with all of these bonds. There's a lot of similarities between the two, and that's what adds added legitimacy to the process that you're doing. Okay, is when you understand that principle, and then nobody can deceive you and try to say, "Oh, you're doing something wrong" or something like that. No, this is according to law. No, this is according to principles. These are principles of law I'm following. I haven't done anything wrong. Anybody can write a bond. A bond means a promise. Anybody can write a bond. It means a promise. You can try to require that I have an asset behind it, but I'm telling you what the asset is: my full faith and credit, my labor. The same thing you're using. Equality under the law is mandatory. If what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Let me stop here and let me take a couple of questions. I'm gonna take a couple of questions. All right. Take a couple of questions. Well, first of all, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take all the hands down. All right, because y'all don't just put up. Now you can ask your question if you have a question. Barbara Jornoff. Sound
Can
Russian.
you
Yeah, go ahead.
can you hear me, Yusef?
I can hear you loud and clear. Go
Oh,
ahead.
great. Well, it's a pleasure to meet you, sir. My question is, I've already done the birth certificate bond, sent it in, registered mail, etc. Haven't heard anything back. It's been over 30 days. Done all
Oh,
the.
now, let me tell you something. Sometimes those green cards don't come back 2 or 3 months when they're
Yeah, I
dealing with the
know.
government. All
Yeah,
right,
it
so
took.
don't even worry about 30 days. It take a long. When you get that green card back, you're gonna be done forgot about it. Like, oh damn, here's the green. But go
No,
ahead.
I sent it in November and just got it back the end of January, the
I'm
green
trying to
card.
tell you.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
it
it was
takes
a
a
long
while.
time.
It takes a long time. But
Yeah.
go ahead.
So I just sent in my birth certificate bonds, and this bond here is also above and beyond that birth certificate bond, correct? This is an indemnity.
Well, what this bond is, what's collateralizing this bond is the birth certificate.
Okay. All right.
All right. That's what it is. So that's why you're sending them a copy of it. You're sending them a
Okay.
copy of the birth certificate to let them know that you have it in your possession.
Right.
Each of those birth certificates have what? When you get a copy of birth certificate, they all have individualized numbers on them.
Okay.
Right? Unique numbers. And even the copies, none of those copies are the same. They've been certified to have numbers. So now you're proving that you are what? I'm the holder in due course of this bond.
Right.
Yes. So now here's the evidence, Mr. Secretary of Treasury, that I have it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And this bond that I'm giving to you, this is what is collateralizing this bond, this birth certificate that I have in my possession.
Okay.
That makes sense?
Yes, it does. Yep.
Okay.
100%. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. All right. Let's see who's next. Man, I like class today. This is real good. It's like this is kind of good. I like this. Um, who got him? Guveen. Man, I can't see. Y'all got some names, boy. Woo. Let me see. You got two on here. Let me see. You Osmali, what is it? Osmanil Govan.
Osman. It's
Os,
Osman, Yusuf.
I can't see. I'm blind. Oh, okay. You got something. Okay, that's not a word. Okay, something behind your name is like a symbol. I thought it was L. And
Oh,
I'm blind. You know, I wear glasses. I'm blind now.
no worries. Um,
All
so,
right.
hey, thanks for taking my question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So the just dovetailing on the question that came before, naturalization certificate would equally collateralize the bond.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. That's what you got in this country. Instead of a birth certificate, you got your birth certificate that evidences when you became a citizen in this country is your naturalization certificate. Ours is our birth certificate. But we all called what? U.S. citizens.
Right. Right. Um, okay. So just going back to a few things that you've said. So is there any like scenarios that we could get into trouble for being a surety on other people's bonds? Like,
I've
for instance,
never
when
had. I can only go through empirical evidence, and I've never heard anybody being and getting in trouble in my 13 years for being a surety on somebody else's bond. Never heard it. Never seen any evidence of anything like that. Why would you get in trouble being a surety? Okay, let's look at this reasonably. All these accounts are unlimited. The unlimited accounts. The unlimited. All right. You really don't really need the surety because the grantor's account will cover everything. You just giving them cushions.
Hmm.
You don't even need these really because this account right here is unlimited. All of them unlimited.
Right.
So that's why on the bid bond, Tony King, he instructs you, not only do you be your principal, you be the sureties too. That's why you put your name on the 24, 25 and the 25 23, what is it, 24, 25 and 25A? You're the surety and the principal on those bonds. Right? So because you could possibly do that like this. You could possibly do it like this. I don't think that would make any sense. You know, it probably would make sense in the way that this is constructed. But in principle, you really don't need a surety because your account is unlimited. We're talking about credit. No one can put a value on your labor, your future labor. No one. No one knows how much money you're going to make. You could be talking on the phone right now, tomorrow hit the lottery and be worth $500 million, and then just never come to another Yusef Secure Party webinar ever again. If you won $500 million, would you come back to this webinar and tell me and finish
Oh,
this
yeah,
class? Well, you would
totally.
finish the class with $500 million. You would.
For sure. Are you kidding? I mean, this is superpowers. This is beyond anything.
you know, superpowers is when you get $500 million in your hand.
Well, I mean, government gets half of it from you off the bat, right? I think there's like almost.
If you take it all, but if you put it in a trust and get, because you can put it in a trust, okay, and then get it over 20 years
Mhm.
and get more of the money, but people just elect to get all of it, and then they get taxed, I think, what, up to 40-something% or something like that, and they take almost half of it. But some people may choose just to, get it over 20 years. And then that's what you see, like J.G. Wentworth. He said, if you want your structured settlement, pay off. That's what they do. They come in and say, oh, because after at 10 years, you might like, shit, this wasn't a good idea. Then you go to J.G. Wentworth and he said, we'll give you. He said, okay, what do you got? You got what? You got 200 million. We'll give you 150 million cash right now. You let us get it.
Mhm.
They buy you out, and then that's how they make their profit. Because wealthy people don't like lump sums. They like streams of income.
Uh-huh. And
That's
then
how
you
you got
can
to
go.
think too. They want a stream of income. They don't. Your lump sum is cool, but I like a continuous stream of income coming in, and that's what they look for because they're always looking to. That's why they don't want to put their money in a bank. They're always looking to put money somewhere where they can make more, multiply. But go
Right.
ahead.
And also, it seems that you can negotiate it, as you were saying.
I'm sorry, negotiate as far as what?
Like, here's receipts over 20 years for $500 million. Give me $400 million cash for it now. So I'll give this
Right. I mean,
annuity to you.
if you got evidence that if you got potential money coming in, you're talking about these structured settlements and everything. You got evidence that you got payments coming in that's going to equal up to $500 million, but you're going to get it over 20 years, and you want all your money now. Yeah, you can go to somebody and say, look, okay, you got 500 million, we'll give you 300 million.
Mhm.
We'll put 200 million in your pocket right now. You give us, and you let us get the 500 million that you got coming over. We'll take it over 20 years. We'll give you all your money right now. And that's what people do. They would prefer to have 200 million now instead of 500 million over 20 years. That's
Right.
an individual decision.
Yep. So another question. So you said you will put every discharge on a UCC3.
Yes, you are.
So, for instance, every discharge, if I was to go into a traffic court, for instance, and I had to set off the charges there, I would still have to put that on a UCC3. And
If
how would
you
I do that?
what are you giving them to set off the charges? What are you going to give them? What I mean, you just going to say it? You can't just say it. You got to give them something. They have to have some sort of tangible asset that they can place on their books. Whether it be you get the indictment, because the indictment is a bill of exchange. There needs to be a claim on that, but it has to be some value. So that's why you have acceptance for value, and then you have what is called acceptance for assessed value. People don't talk about acceptance for assessed value. Assessed value is when you know the amount. Acceptance for value is when you don't know the amount. So know that verbiage too. If you know the amount, you're accepting it for the assessed value, not for value. There's a difference in acceptance for value and acceptance for assessed value. So, if you have an assessed value, you're going to give them a bill of exchange, bond, or something like that. You're issuing an instrument. If you issue an instrument, it needs to have a claim on it. Let's read that real quick. Let's read it.
Please.
Okay, here's holder in due course, UCC 3-302. You should study this. Y'all should know this. Because you come into court, you say, I'm the holder in due course. Here's a third party intervener making a special appearance as an authorized representative for the defendant. I accept for value, in return for value, all the charging instruments in this matter and make my exemption as principal available for discharge of all obligations and charges connected with this case. I do not dispute any of the facts contained in the charging instrument. Please use my exemption for offset and adjustment of the charges against the defendant and release the order of the court to me immediately. I know what every word and every syllable in that statement means. At first, I didn't, but I can break it down for you. And when you know what every word and every syllable of that statement means, that is going to exude in court, and the judge is going to feel it. When you don't know, the judge is going to feel that too. You just said a statement. You don't even know what the fuck you just said. UCC 3-302, holder in due course, subject to subsection C and section 3-106D, holder in due, and when it says subject to, that means there could be some extenuating circumstances that you may need to take into consideration. So now we have holder in due course means the holder of an instrument. What is an instrument? Okay. What is an instrument? An instrument means a negotiable instrument. An order that meets all the requirements of subsection A except paragraph 1 and otherwise falls within the definition of a check in subsection F if a negotiable instrument and a check. D, a promise or order other than see the conjunction or a promise. What is a promise? Bond or order other than a check is not a negotiable instrument if at the time it is issued or first comes into possession of a holder, it contains a conspicuous means readily apparent statement, however expressed, to the effect that the promise or order is not negotiable. You see people put on their non-negotiable or is not an instrument governed by this article because there are other instruments that are governed by other laws other than the UCC. An instrument is a note if it is a promise, and is a draft if it is an order. And that's what a bill of exchange is. A bill of exchange is a draft. A note is a promissory note. If an instrument falls within the definition of both note and draft, a person is entitled to enforce the instrument. They may treat it as either, and that's what's happening with your mortgages. Those promissory notes on your mortgages can be treated as either, and that's why you see them stamp it paid to the order. They can treat it as either. It's called a promissory note, but why are they putting paid to the order? They're treating it as a draft. And anybody who knows anything about the mortgage industry, you know I'm telling the truth. If you got a copy of it, you'll see it. It's stamped on there, paid to the order. So right here, we got our definitions of what an instrument is. When we go back to UCC 3-302, the instrument, we just read what that is. When issued, what is issued? Okay, issued means the first delivery of an instrument by the maker or drawer. Okay, a maker is with a promissory note. A drawer is with a bill of exchange. We look at maker means a person who signs identified in a note as a person undertaking to pay. Okay, that's a maker. And a drawer has to do with what? Means a person who signs identified in a draft as a person ordering payment. Okay, and that's like with a check or with a, with a bill of exchange. All right. So we're talking about maker or drawer, promissory note, bill of exchange, whether to a holder or non-holder for the purpose of giving rights on the instrument to any person. Okay, because that's what they're giving the rights because it's negotiable. Okay, they're going to negotiate it. You're issuing something. An unissued instrument or an unissued incomplete instrument that is completed is binding on the maker or the drawer, but non-issuance is a defense. Okay, because they're like, okay, the holder in due course has like 10 defenses or some 10 defenses or something. I don't have them all I don't have them all memorized off the top of my head. An instrument that is conditionally issued, and you have some conditional acceptances. All right, people do what's called conditional acceptances. An instrument that is conditionally issued or is issued for a special purpose, okay, is binding on the maker or drawer, but failure of the condition or special purpose to fulfill is a defense. So if you don't tell them specifically what this instrument is for, they will have a defense. What are we doing with our bond? We are telling them specifically what it is for in the verbiage that is on the face of the document. All right. So now let's read this. Holder in due course. The instrument, when issued or negotiated to the holder. So we have a holder in due course and we have a holder. Okay. Does not bear such apparent evidence of forgery or alteration or is not otherwise so irregular or incomplete as to call into question its authenticity. All right. So basically, it could be fraudulent, but as long as it looks authentic on its face, this is why they say that fraud is permissible in the UCC. This is the reason. Number two, the holder took the instrument. Now, here's the holder. This is the person you gave it to. You're the holder in due course. You are the maker or the drawer of the instrument. You've issued it to a holder, and he has it in his possession. In due course, it has to do what? Come back to you. What is the course? In the course of something, it's going to do what? You're going to be the holder of it in the course. So it's telling holder in due course means it come back to you, which is what they used to do with your checks. What did they used to do with your checks? They used to give them back to what? They used to return them to who?
To me.
Exactly. Because you were the holder in due course.
Right.
Something has changed in that where they don't give them back now. They send you copies of them and things like that and say they destroy them. I think that's fraudulent too, because now you have a negotiable instrument out there that's being utilized. And I think they start doing that because they are so far in debt, they are desperate and they're keeping these instruments. And I believe they're still negotiating them. And that's why so many people don't want to screw with the United States. Just my opinion.
Don't
Go
people just try to claim the interest on those instruments that they've made through 1099 OIDs and whatnot?
Yes, they do. All right, because the interest and the principal is to be returned to you because they're just using it. That's exactly right. All right, that is exactly right. Because you are the what? But to get that, you have to be the what? It has to, in due course, it has to come back. You're going to be the holder. And right now, they are the holder, but in due course, when it gets through going all around the world being negotiated, that's what the course means. All right, it's on a course. It's on an obstacle course. It's trading hands. It's going from person to person all over the planet. But at the end of the line, it has to be what? You're going to be the what? In the due course of all that, you're going to be what? The holder. Yeah. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So now, So now you're the holder in due course. You're a maker or drawer. You've issued the instrument. Now this other holder in section 2, he took the instrument for value as if it didn't have a amount on it, or he took it in good faith, all right, without notice that the instrument is overdue or has been dishonored, or that there is an uncured default with respect to payment of another instrument issued as a series, a part of the same series. That's what you'll find with bill of exchanges. Bill of exchanges can be issued in a series. Okay. And if he doesn't have notice that there's a problem, he took it in good faith. He can negotiate it without any problem. If he don't have notice in it, it could be fraudulent. He can still negotiate it. And fraud is going on very big in that market. People in the monetization market of instruments, very big. 90% of what's going on is fraudulent because of this statement that's in the UCC. Because this one statement right here gave rise to a lot of fraud. Okay. Without notice that the instrument contains an unauthorized signature or has been altered. So if you don't notice that it has a forged signature on it, I still can take it and negotiate it. Like I told you, a banker told me he used to do this in the bank. He was in prison with me. He told me what he used to do. He said a lot of the people who would do fake checks, they would come into the bank and they'd have a fake ID and the fake check trying to get a cash. He said he'd be sitting at my desk and he said, I'd scream, get up. He said, run out, take their driver's license, run out of the bank, and he'd keep the check. And he said, go to the discount window and tell them we have unclaimed funds. Can we add these to our books? He told me they used to do that. You learn a lot of stuff in prison that's going on. I'm trying to tell you. And when you read this, you understand why. Because if he hadn't been given notice that it's an unauthorized signature or something like that, it's money. What he told me at the end, he said, it has a signature on it. It has a signature on it. As long as this instrument has all of the elements on it necessary to be negotiated, I can negotiate it. It has a value. Think about that. All right. All right. So these 5 things are important right here. All right. So it's right here. You see right here. Without notice that the instrument contains an unauthorized signature has been altered. And number 5, without notice of any claim to the instrument. So described in section 3-306. Okay. All right. So holder in due course means if. Now notice, go back up here. You're a holder in due course if you didn't get a notice of any claim to the instrument described in 3-306. So if the holder did not get notice that there's a claim, this holder becomes the what? What does he become?
Holder in due course.
Does that make sense? Am I reading it wrong?
Yes. No. Just one quick question about bills of exchange. So in our UCC 1, we already gave a certain numbering as our kind of instruments that we claim those instruments. For instance, like 1,000 bills of exchange or something in series. So for each bills of exchange we made, do we have to still file a UCC 3, or are they automatically just already claimed with that?
Somebody already has it. They don't have a notice. The holder in due course of it. I mean, they can negotiate it. They can become the holder in due course. You don't have a claim on it. That's what's happening with mortgages. That's why you don't get those promissory notes back. They don't have to. And I had that happen to me. How do you think I learned this? I tried to buy a Mercedes-Benz S65, $160,000 car. Because when I first found this out, I didn't play with it. People were trying to buy Ford Mustang GTs and shit like that. I don't do that. All right. I got the money. I'm supposed to live like a fucking king. So, you owe this to me. How y'all think? Y'all thinking like that right now? I was thinking the same way. I'm like, better go get me a, you finna get a what? I'm going to get an S65. Fuck a 550. I need me an AMG, okay, with the kit. And then not only did I do that, I went up there and put all of the rims and made them buy everything and put all the accessories on it, fully loaded and everything. Ordered it, okay? This is how it goes. So the owner, so they went back and forth with me. I got a chance to talk to the owner of Mercedes-Benz because I was going hard at them. And I didn't know everything I needed to do. I didn't know this. I didn't know the tax forms that needed to go with it, how to do an assessment on it, and I know all of that. But it was very educational for me because the owner, he was a black man too. I was shocked, and he told me, his first thing he told me, he said, "You're a genius." He said, "I was a genius." That right there let me know I was on to something because he kept looking at it. I said, "Well, man, you got to give me my instrument back." He said, he would not give it back to me. He told me I don't have, his words were, and I kind of messed up because when I went in there, and I have two other people that went with me. I have witnesses. One of them is on my Facebook page. I'm going to see if I can get her to come in and co-sign everything I'm saying. But when I went in, I was kind of pissed off. I said, "You need to give me my car or give me my check back." And he said, "Well, my wife is a federal attorney, a federal prosecutor." And I'm like, "I don't care. You know, I wasn't scared of prosecutors at this point. I don't care. Prosecutor don't mean nothing to me. They got prosecutors got y'all food. They ain't got me food." So and then I thought, and I said, "Let me stop. And I'm gonna create controversy." I said, "Sir, I'm not here to, you know, it provide any controversy for you." I said, "Look, I'm trying to help you." You know, because he told me, he said that was that year that I did that. That was the worst year for the car industry since 1933. He told me that. He said we ain't seen this type of bad business with cars since 1930. He explained to me how the car industry works, how they make their money. He told me everything. I mean, I sat in his office, talked to him for about 2 hours, and but he would not give me the instrument back. But he kept looking at it. He said, "How'd you learn this?" and all of this kind of stuff. And kind of talked to him. But but I didn't know what was wrong. What was wrong is I didn't have a claim on it because he told me that's the first thing he said. He said, "I don't have to give this back to you." And they taking them and doing something with it. And what I believe is he took it, bought the car, and they drive it themselves. That's I believe what's happening. Where's my claim to it? I didn't have a claim on it. And back then, that's what people don't understand why they taking your instruments and not giving them back. So, because you don't have no notice of claim. So, right here in UCC 3-306, lost, destroyed, or stolen cashier's checks, teller checks, claims to an instrument. Notice what they have right here: a person taking an instrument other than a person having rights of a holder in due course. So, we're talking about other than a person. Well, we must be talking about a holder. Is subject to a claim of a property or possessory right in the instrument or to its proceeds. Remember what you said about the 1099 OID? The proceeds are the interest and everything. You have a right to that. You have a claim not only on the possessory right. You have you're supposed to get the instrument back, possessory right in the instrument or its proceeds. If you don't give me the instrument back, what do you got to give me? What do you got to give me if you don't give me the instrument back? Because there's a conjunction. And or, remember conjunction junction? So I got a possessory right. I got a claim of property. Okay, it's subject. You are subject. A person taking an instrument other than a holder in due course. So if you're not a holder in due course, but you have an instrument like a holder, is subject to a claim of property or possessory right in the instrument or its proceeds, including a claim to rescind a negotiation and to recover the instrument or its proceeds. A person having rights of a holder in due course takes free of the claim to the instrument. So if you don't have a claim, they become the holder in due course, and what? They are free of what? They're free of what?
Claim to the instrument. So
You know,
basically they registered with the UCC3 on their own UCC1 to.
I don't know what they do,
I
how they
see.
do their claims. I can't say because I don't know. I don't know what they do behind the scenes. I'm sure they do that. I'm sure they have their own processes because they follow the. Here are the rules, right? We're playing Monopoly, man. Here are the instructions. Here, I'm reading you the instructions.
Yeah.
Okay. In Monopoly, can you put $500 on free parking and anybody that is on free parking get the $500? Can you do that in Monopoly? You ever played Monopoly before?
Yeah. It's been some years though.
Yeah. Did y'all ever used to do that? Put $500 on free parking and get it?
I can't remember to tell you the truth, but I believe you.
We used to do that. It's not in the rule books. You can't do that shit. Okay. First thing you do when you do read Monopoly is you read the instructions. We're playing Monopoly. Here is the instructions on the box top of the game. Look at it like that. Now, the way I broke that down to you, was that understandable?
It's very easily. It was very clear. Thank you. Yeah.
All right. So now, do you see why we're doing what we're doing?
Yeah. Of course. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you for your question.
Oh,
Just want to
thank
make
you.
sure.
Can
Ah,
I
you're welcome.
ask a couple more questions?
I'll let you ask one more question. There are some other people that have a question, and
Sure.
time is starting to run out. It's almost 2 o'clock. So go ahead.
Okay. So, at the end of the 30 years, we get this bond back, uh, and you know the money is paid from our birth certificate bond or birth certificate bond or naturalization bond, and we send in another bond for continued coverage of our debts publicly.
No. Let's think about what do you do with a bank? Okay, you go to open it. Let's say this is the Yusef International Trust Company banking and trust company. You come to my bank. That's what can I do for you? You say, yeah, Yusuf, I got $1 million I want to put in your bank. Okay, that's all right. You put the money in my bank. You go out and write a check. What does a check represent?
A draft
It's your
from that.
authorization that
Okay.
somebody has authorization to credit my account and apply it somewhere else. All right. You're doing the same thing with this. Every time you write an instrument, we need an instrument. We need some sort of authorization from you to deduct credits from your account because the bond is you putting a deposit in that's your deposit. That's your initial deposit. Now you need to write some checks against that deposit. And they needed some authorization from you to deduct those credits. It is banking 101. Same damn thing. It's private banking. On the public side, they do everything for you. They set up your accounts. They make your checks for you. They route it for you and everything like that. On the private side, you do it. You set up the shit.
I see. Got it.
I hope that makes sense to everyone. All right.
Thanks a lot, Yusuf.
You're welcome. All right. Let's get back. Quinn Riley, you had a question, brother? See your hand up. Hold on, let me see if I open up your mic. Mic won't open, brother. That means you ain't either you got it locked or something like that. You can put in a code or something. I can't open you up. James Dunn.
Hey there, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing all right.
Yeah, I got a little nervous that I didn't hear from you for a while. Like, where my guy go to? I'm like, man, I ain't hearing no more nothing.
I know, man. I was just trying to make everything better for y'all. Hopefully, y'all see that. Okay, y'all see that I was working. I wasn't sitting, resting on my laurels. I was working. So go ahead.
Don't spook us like that again, whatever you do.
I made a video on YouTube during that time, during the downtime. I made a couple of videos, so y'all should know I was still around. I was making videos, posting stuff. So
Man, people come and go like he was talking about, and I've seen that too many times. I'm like, oh no,
yeah, they do.
not
They
my
do.
boy, not him. I got nervous. But anyway, I just wanted to say this real quick. When you was talking about the bond and the people on the bottom, like he was talking about, to be your sureties, does that make them responsible if something goes wrong? I mean, kind of like what he was saying, but I'm thinking of more like this here. If you're on my bond and it don't get paid or whatever, are you going to be responsible to pay that
Yeah.
like you do?
What happens when you co-sign for something?
Okay.
What you doing when you you're a guarantor when you co-sign.
You sure
Thing as
are.
a form of a surety, same thing. I mean, yeah. But all I'm saying to you, but see, you're getting into right now. We're getting into conjecture and what could happen. I've never seen that happen. Okay, and when you look at it, you're just giving them added. The word insurance comes from assurance. The sureties are just adding added assurance.
Okay.
Okay, I'm giving you added assurance. All right, my account is sufficient to take care of all of this, but here's the added assurance.
Right.
Okay.
Another layer of protection for them that they have in their mind.
Exactly.
Okay, yeah. A peace of mind. But then, like you said, you can do it all yourself and just have yourself as all three of those, correct?
You can do that. I mean, like I said, once you learn the principles behind it, you can become creative. Like that banker told me, he said the UCC was designed for creativity. How do you think they came up with all of these
these exotic investments that they got on Wall Street and all of that. Like
Okay.
what is that they got? They say is going to be the downfall of the financial. I forgot what it's called. It starts.
Hmm.
Can't think of it right off my head. But the thing is that you can create. I'm giving you the principles. You can go create. I'm trying to train y'all to be teachers and
Right.
create and make. I told you at the beginning of the thing. Develop your own process. That's all these gurus. I'm trying to make y'all into gurus. I see what these gurus are doing. Make y'all into gurus. You know, they're coming up, and some of them are good. I've seen some very good processes. I've seen
Right.
some terrible ones. I've seen some very creative processes. I have. You know, I'm not a hater. I've seen some stuff like, damn, that's good. A man knows his stuff. And then I seen you say, this person don't know what the fuck they doing. They piecemealed some shit together.
He getting everybody in trouble trying to follow behind their
Ex-
routine and stuff.
And see, and people don't read this. You know, Gene Keaton said, I ain't seen not one person read the UCC. What are we doing now?
Yep.
We're
You
reading the
see.
UCC. Yusef reads the UCC. Can't say that. That don't apply to me. I read it.
Well, since I got more in depth what you're talking about with the UCC and everything, I remember when I did something with the utility bill and I took and used that as a money order and I turned it, signed it, sent it back, to use the United States, payment, blah, 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 the HT 192. And what happened was that went on for like about 8, 9 months. My bill stayed on. As soon as I didn't send that other one on to
Went
them,
off.
they cut that stuff off so fast. And I asked them, I went to the Public Utility Commission to get my stuff back from them, my checks and stuff. And they sent, just like you said, photocopies. They wouldn't send my original and blue ink
Nope.
signature I signed. They wouldn't send it to me.
They're not gonna get. They don't have to because you ain't got a claim on it. And that happened to
Eh,
me. I was
There you
paying my
go.
utility bills for 6 months with bills of exchange, and it was
Yep.
I was getting funny bills. I was getting the bill, but it had a negative sign on it. And one day I didn't send it in. I went and paid it late. They came out and turned off my electricity. I was like, damn. Do you know they came an hour later and turned it back on?
Hmm.
I'm trying to tell you, man. Stop thinking. It's man. When I listen to Gene, people hear me talk about Gene Keaton, and I have a lot of
Mhm.
respect for the man because the things I hear him say, I've experienced. Like when he
Right.
say, "Y'all think this is not going on," he said, "Y'all crazy. This is what's going on." And he's right. This is what's going on. And people, and that's why I say, "Well, this don't work." People say it don't work because they don't make it easy for you.
No,
They don't
no.
make it easy for you. And that's why it's important that you know the rules and know what your remedies are because they will contest you. And you
Right.
don't do these things thinking that you're not going to be contested on something. But when you know the law, you put the law in front of their face. Here's what the law says.
And they can't refute it because it's right there. They putting it up as their stuff. Here it is. You
I'm
said
trying to
this is what we're
tell you,
doing.
you'll see it.
So how
And
you gonna not gonna do that?
but
you know.
what they do is they fatigue you out. A lot of people get tired of fighting. They fatigue you out. You know,
Well, yeah, they got
they tie you up in procedure.
right. They got the time and resources to do that. Well, you don't have none. They already
My
know that. So
attorney told me that. I had a friend. We having a drink. He said, "Look, it don't matter if y'all right." He
right.
said, "What we're going to do, we're going to take you to court and we're going to inundate you with so much paperwork." He said, "We're going to take." He said, "We take." He said, "We take first year lawyers who coming out of law school. We work their ass 18 hours a day and burn them out, and then they leave the firm, and then we go get some more." This is what he
Been,
told me. I mean,
been,
he told me. I'm giving you info. He's having a drink. He said, "Man, we got. Don't matter if you're right." He said, "Court is not about right or wrong. It's about what you can prove. And we're gonna tell you a
right.
procedure. We're gonna inundate you with paperwork and tie you up." That's what they do.
And
And
they
you can
they
see that in foreclosure cases. That's what they do. They hit you with that paperwork. You can't read that shit. You don't know what it's saying. You don't know the rules of procedure, anything like that. Don't matter if you're right. You can cry all you want to. We got rules, and you need to follow them.
they're gonna make you give up if you don't know. They're gonna make
So
you give up. You
you
know.
only lose when you give up.
Exactly. You acquiesce is done. It's to forget I ain't got nothing
One
to
of
say
10
and
rules,
stuff.
10 rules of commercial commerce. Let's read them real quick. Let's read, and you should know this. You should know this. 10 rules of commerce. You should know this.
Okay.
Let's see. Is this it? Let's see if this is it. Uh, no, that's not it. I don't know. No, it's 10. What is 10 commercial maxims of law. I think that's what it is. Yeah, okay. Number one, a workman is worthy of his hire. Number two, all are equal under the law. Number three, in commerce, truth is sovereign. Number four, truth is expressed by means of an affidavit. Number five, an unrebutted affidavit stands as truth in commerce. Number six, an unrebutted affidavit becomes judgment in commerce. And it gives you a lot of this stuff is based on biblical principles.
Right.
Number seven, a matter must be expressed to be resolved, means it has to be in writing, expressed to be resolved. Number eight, he who leaves the field of battle first loses by default.
Yeah, that's right.
Sacrifice is the measure of credibility. All right. And number 10, a lien or claim can be satisfied only through rebuttal, by counter affidavit, point for point, resolution or jury, or payment. Those are the only three ways to get rid of a lien. You need to know the principles, learn the maxims. These are important.
Right.
These are very important for you to know because you're going to see it everywhere.
This is when
This
you got those
ain't something
down
somebody
pat.
made up. This is real. All these 10 maxims are real.
And once you got those down pat, you understand more, like you were saying. You know, I just have one more question for you, real quick. I'll let you go to other people and stuff, waiting online and stuff. But I have a friend of mine, and she's been fighting this little case with move violation for a long time, and she done sent in to go ahead and get the payment discharge. She used a U.S. money order and stuff. They didn't want to accept it. They didn't want to accept this. They don't want to accept that. But they want her to come down and get a new court date. And to me, it's like just redoing it all over again. I mean, discharge
Yeah,
to
that's
come
what they're
back and
trying to do.
do it.
Recontract with her. That's a new contract. And
Okay, with the new
you want her to come that. Well, I'm not coming anywhere. You refuse that. I've
You
already
did.
satisfied it. What are you talking about? I need to get a new court date. That right there is where your balls comes in. Okay, and that's where it, like in the Bible, it says you have to, like in the belligerent claimant. You got
Sure.
to take that. They will take you to the limit. They have to. You got to understand, if they start making it easy for people, what is going to happen?
Everybody gets it done. It's done. They got to worry about it no more.
Everybody's going to do it.
It's been fighting this thing for 5 years, and they just don't want to let, like you said before, they don't want to let it go.
They do not want to let it go. But to see that, what that means is you haven't located your remedy and you don't know how to do enforcement. That's all
Well,
that
I
means.
thought about to do the administration process and stuff. You get your notary and do this and get
You
all
need
your
to
facts.
file a lawsuit against them in a court of equity. You got to go to an equity court. You have to become the initiator, and then you got to take them into an equity court. You got to
Okay.
file a lawsuit, and we're going to go over that. I promised y'all we're going to do that. We're going to do that after we get through with all this paperwork. We're going to go into the court procedures and discharge and all of that. I told you I was going to put it all together for you. Right now, this is just a foundational document. Next, I'm going to show you how to apply all of this stuff. We're going to get to that. We're going to get to
Okay.
that. This is a course. I'm teaching y'all right now. I said this is going to be my last one. That's why it's taking so long, because I'm taking my time and going through everything. I want to make sure everything is covered from A to Z. All right, because I don't want nobody to say anything. I've been accused of not finishing and leaving people hanging and all that kind of stuff. I said, okay, I'm gonna make a course. Y'all gonna pay me for this course, and y'all gonna have free access, and it's gonna be every weekend we're gonna go through this. We're gonna go through this.
And keep
Okay.
it going and make sure you get it. Why we
Keep it
don't have
going.
something during the week sometime, because sometimes you wait
I'm
week to
thinking about. I'm
weekend.
not
It's
gonna have
stretching
to
out
make it
so
go fast.
long.
I'm gonna have to make it go fast. I'm gonna have to go.
Right.
I did it on the weekend to accommodate people. I'm thinking I'm gonna switch to Tuesday. We're gonna have to make it speed up. So I'm gonna start doing some
And that's what I've
weekdays.
been kind of looking for, because you get more because
I'm gonna do
you
it.
ascertain
I've
it,
been
you forget
using.
some stuff, and go ahead.
I kind of needed up to this point. I kind of needed the week to work on other stuff, but I've got a
Sure.
lot of that done now. I have more free time, and I think I'll switch to Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Now,
So
I only found like 4 of the last video, that you had done on our
no,
website.
if you go to the website, I posted all of them. If you go right here on your website, go to the main dashboard.
Okay.
Right here, you're gonna click on courses, click on secure party right here, and then you're gonna have your recordings right here. Click on recordings, and there are your recordings right there.
Oh, okay. I didn't see that. Okay.
I just put them up last night
4 o'clock in the morning. I was
Well,
working
that's
till
why I
4.
didn't see it, because I know it was
Yeah,
a couple of days ago. I didn't see
yeah,
none. I don't see 4 of them like on, and that
yeah,
was it. I was like,
yeah.
I guess
I've
the
got them
rest got
all.
lost in transit, you know?
Yeah, I got all of them up for you. They're all available for you, all the past recording. And this one will be up. And, all of them be up. You see, I'm planning on going to March. March, at the end of March, it's over with. I'm going to be
Good,
done with all this by March.
good. We can all get
I
it all
treated it
taken
like a
care of.
college course. I treated it just like a college course.
Well, it's good. It's done good and it's professional, man. I'm glad to see you safe and you back on track and back online, because we didn't know what was going on. Nobody knew nothing. So, you know.
That's okay. I'm fine. I'm good. I'm not hurt, injured, nothing, not threatened or anything. I'm working. I'm
Oh,
working.
I know
I'm
that
working.
now.
I'm working. All right. And hopefully y'all see that. Y'all should see the evidence of what I'm doing because, hey, look, I do all this myself. I built the website. Nobody's doing any of this for me. I edit all my
Oh,
videos
okay.
myself. I do everything myself. Nobody's doing anything for me. I do it all myself. But it's going to have to stop. I'm thinking about putting together open up an office. And if anybody's interested in working, it's going to be up office. Ain't going to be no, privilege type stuff. I run my business just like a business. Like if you work for anybody else, you get paid on Friday and things like that. I'm thinking about opening up an office so if people are interested and you have some skills
Right.
that you contribute on certain things. I'm going to be looking because I'm taking this as far as I can by myself. I can't do everything by myself. I need help, and
Exactly.
in order for me to grow, I need to do help because one person can only take something so far. You need a group of people. You have to have that. And that's where organizational skills come in, something that we've been lacking as a people on usually to demonstrate on a higher level. We got to organize and put this together and make it professional. And, because the potential that I see in this is great. I see a
Hmm.
lot of great. And especially some of the other ideas as far as circulating currency. I have a currency circulator. I've not abandoned that. I'm going to be working on that next, and I'm going to try to merge these two, and I'm going to add an affiliate option to this too, so y'all can make some money off referring people too.
That sounds like a winner. But you have to allocate things, like you said, in business, because one person can't do it all. But if
My
you
people,
allocate
my,
responsible people to
but,
it,
but the
you
thing is, it's hard finding responsible, competent
that's
people.
I know that. I ran business like that, and I couldn't hardly find them. Like it's very hard
It's
to get them like
hard, and
that.
that's why you have to. That's why we do things ourselves because everybody's not motivated, focused, or committed as you are, especially if it's
Exactly.
not their stuff. All right, so
Right.
you got to find. I read the autobiography of Walmart, Sam Walton, and I read a lot of autobiographies because I read autobiographies because I like to see what billionaires went through to get where they at. Because everybody, the pauper always thinks rich people are just blessed. Well, you gonna read their stories, you're like, this nigga wasn't blessed. He worked his ass off. He went through, he went through trials and tribulations and thunderstorms and deserts and sharks in the sea and everything, and made it through. And then we get to the end, everybody say, "Man, you was lucky."
Going through the hard knocks and tough
I'm
stuff.
saying, you went there, you went through all of this stuff to get there, and that may put you in a small group of people. That's why everybody's not an entrepreneur because they don't have what it takes. They don't have what it takes. And
Exactly.
nobody's going to be like you. And to find if you are lucky, as Napoleon Hill said in Think and Grow Rich, to be able to put together a mastermind group. And it doesn't have to
Mm.
be that big. It only be about 5 individuals. That's what Walmart did. Is Walmart Empire. I'm thinking about 5 or 6 individuals. And two of the most important ones were his computer guys, because Walmart has their own distribution. That's what blew them up. And they became
Mm.
the first retail store to become #1 on Fortune 500.
Wow.
And they would be the richest people in the world if his estate wasn't divided between his children. All of his children on top 50 richest people in the world. I think he got like 4 or 5 kids, and they
Right.
divided the estate between them, and they still like in the top 20, top 15, or
Mm.
something like that.
Mm. Well, you know what I was thinking also real quick is like I have my birth certificate and everything is authenticated through the state in Washington and everything and filed up and filed down and returned and stuff. What I do is take a lot of those copies and send it with my documentation because that they makes them know who I am. That's authenticated. This is who's doing this. You know what I mean?
Right. Okay, wait
So
a minute. Wait a minute. Okay, restate your question. What are you trying to find out? You authenticated your birth certificate and what?
I use my documents like that Well, I make copies of them, all my authentication when I did my birth certificate. So when I file a document similar to what I'm trying to do, this let them know because this is I'm full faith and credit that I am the
Yeah,
person
but the
here
thing
doing
about it
this.
is it is the government discharges a dollar for dollar, and that's not these municipalities. That's going to be the Secretary of Treasury. That's where a lot of people, I think, in my opinion, get off base is when, it's like, that's why you're giving this to the Secretary of Treasury. He's the fiduciary. He's doing it.
No, I understand that element of what you're talking about, what we're doing now with the bonds, but I'm saying putting that inside with that to explain this like your idea who you are, because that's basically what it is. It's been
Right.
authenticated who you are. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. I mean, but okay, I'm getting lost. Okay, you're authenticating the birth certificate. All right.
Right.
And you say put it in what
The
documentation?
documents like you finished filing what you're doing right now. You're doing all your bonds, you're doing all the stuff, your package is sitting into the
Right.
treasury.
And you are what, sending the authenticated birth certificate to the Treasury Department?
With that, with my documents.
Right. Okay.
Right.
You
So
don't
that,
have to send the birth
okay.
certificate, not the original. You just need a copy. You just need
Copy.
evidence that you have it in your possession.
That's what I'm talking about. A copy of it with that document,
Right.
setting everything up. That's all I'm saying. So they know it's me. Like you don't sit on my ID and all this other state stuff.
No,
I'm
you can put
saying that.
together an affidavit of identity if you choose to. We're going to be talking about that too, affidavit of
Okay.
identity.
I just
And
wanted to let you know who it is. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, but that's what you're doing. You are establishing. You're saying it's private banking. Just go into a bank and open up a bank account and think about and pay attention to what you're doing, and then come back and look at this. They are exactly the same thing. Only one thing is public and another thing is private.
Correct.
That's
Correct.
it. That's it.
Correct.
There's only difference. One is public. Private, you got to do everything yourself. You got to set up your routing. You got to set up your accounts. You have to create your own checks. You have to do everything yourself.
Right. Like if you get a negotiable instrument, you take it to the bank
You
on the
got to
private
create your
side.
own negotiable instruments.
Right. And bring it right to them. Say this is what
You
I
can't
want.
use
This is what
Federal
I good
Reserve
credit.
notes. You can't use Federal Reserve. They're private bank. They created their own instruments. You got to
Right.
create your own. And they set up their own routing system.
Yeah.
Okay?
They sure
Equality
do.
under laws, man. You got to do the same thing. You're doing it for you. You look at yourself on equal level with the Federal Reserve.
Right.
You're a bank. You're a private banker. You're doing the same damn thing.
That's right.
And they contracted with the Treasury Department too. What do you think they did? They did the same thing to issue instruments.
Well, that's all I need to say. I appreciate it, man. Hearing you back online hollering again about everything.
All right. All
You
right. I know
take it
y'all
easy,
like,
bro.
yeah. All
All right.
right. Peace.
Thanks.
All right. Okay, y'all. This is what I'm going to do. We're going to have part 2 tomorrow. Tomorrow, it is 2:00. Tomorrow, we'll have part 2 of this where we actually go in and start structuring the bond tomorrow at 9:00 p.m. 9:00 p.m. I will have all you have to do. You do not email me. Do not ask me if we have in class. Ask none of that. Okay. Do not call me with that. You come to your back office. You click on secure party right here. Click. You go to webinar. It's a live webinar. You click here. All right. And everything you need to know will be right here. If it's not here, it ain't happening. It's not happening. All right. It will be right here. Okay. You will know everything you need to have and everything right here. You don't have to call me, email me, nothing. Come to your website and it's right here. This is the page that lets you know what's happening, what time. All you have to do is click the button and you're good to go. Peace to the gods. I will see y'all tomorrow night at 9 p.m. The recording will be available as soon as it gets through processing. Okay. Peace. I'm out. See you tomorrow night. Bye.